Welcome everyone to Community Board 4's February 16th, 2022 public hearing and regular meeting. We are now getting started at 6:06 p.m. Thank you everyone for your patience. We are still living in this remote world for the time being. We're going to go right into our public hearing items. We have two this evening, starting with the NYC Department for the Aging and NYC Department of Citywide Administrative Services. They're going to be presenting an application that was submitted pursuant to Section 197C of the New York City Charter for the acquisition of property located at 1175 Gates Avenue for continued use as a senior center within Bushwick. So I'll go ahead and I believe I have everyone both from DCAST and DIFTA on. Go ahead and take it away.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Great. Good evening, community board members. This application is an acquisition application for the Roundtable Senior Center.
Mhm.
The New York City Department for the Aging and co-applicant New York City Department for Citywide Administrative Services, DCAS, are seeking approval for continued use for DIFTA Senior Center for a lease term of 20 years. The Senior Center has been a part of the Bushwick community since 1972 and has been operated by not-for-profit organization Riseboro Partnership. It is located, the project area is in Brooklyn Community District 4. The senior center is located at 1175 Gates Avenue, Brooklyn, 1.5 blocks north of Broadway. Bushwick Avenue is located at the south. Evergreen Avenue is to the north and Gates Avenue to the southeast. The surrounding area is zoned in R6. The immediate area is predominantly variety of residential uses, such as 1 to 2 family residential building, row houses, multifamily walk-up, multifamily elevator buildings, and mixed-use residential and commercial buildings. The public facility nearby includes Cristo Missionary Church, Palmetto Gardens, 115-unit NYCHA housing facility, some DOE school buildings. The senior center is served by Gates Avenue subway station, serviced by J&Z train located 2 blocks south on Broadway. There are 2 bus stops providing transportation access to the site, B52 and Q24. The neighborhood senior center is vital to the community, serving 100 seniors per day and providing 3 meals a day. They provide 25 breakfasts, 60 lunches, and 30 dinners. The Riseboro has been serving the Bushwick community for 47 years. The senior center operates 5 days a week and provides a variety of services, including meal services, social services, case assistance, social activities like bingo, billiard, then an educational recreational facilities such as yoga class, Tai Chi class, Zumba, share Arabics, arts and crafts classes. There are also numerous health and promotional, nutritional educational classes. Over 3,500 people over the year participate in these health promotional activities. The Roundtable Senior Center occupies 3rd, 4th, and 5th floor of the existing building at 1175 Gates Avenue, consisting of 17,600 square feet. The rest of the building is occupied by Early Learning Daycare Center operated by SCA. The clientele is mostly aged 60 years and above, and most of them arrive on foot and via public transportation. Visitors enter the facility from left side of the building at grade on the Gates Avenue side. The building is served by 2 sets of staircases. The elevators are located near the building entrance, which accommodates members using wheelchairs and other disabilities. Out of the 3 floors, the 3rd floor consists of mainly office and recreational room and a senior lounge. The case management office, game room, TV room, arts and crafts room, and computer room is on the 4th floor. And kitchen and dining area is on the 5th. The men's and women's restrooms are located in all 3 floors. So with the landlord's cooperation, we are proposing the planned improvement for the exterior. It includes addition of planters, addition of all new windows, repairs of sidewalk, removal of existing graffiti and unauthorized paintwork, painting the exterior door, and removal of roll down shutter. So the applicant, this application is to facilitate the acquisition approval of 17,600 square feet of space with 1175 Gates Avenue, an existing building, and for the continued use of existing senior center. This concludes our presentation. If you have any questions, my name is Nasheed Rumi. I work for the Department for the Aging. I'm a project manager there. And we also have Mr. John Kosa from DCAS leasing unit with us
Hello.
today, if you have any questions.
All right, questions, board members?
No.
All right. I believe Ann Gagne is still trying to join the meeting. This did come through the committee first, and I see Ms. Bennett has a question. I'll hold my comment until Ms. Bennett goes. Go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering how much is the rent?
The rent, we've not finished negotiating the rent yet. So we have not signed a renewal lease, but it'll be in the range of 300,000 to 400,000 per year.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Well, I do. This is Martha Brown speaking. I also
Okay.
would like to know if will we be continuing the same services, offering the same services to the seniors that are currently being given to them now? Will they still have lunch? Will they still have breakfast? I think they have maybe even early dinner, and the usual step classes. The same art classes. Will we be continuing with the same projects that the seniors are currently enjoying, sir?
Is Sandra, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Would you want to take that?
Sure. So currently we are operating at 25% capacity, which does limit some of, we're doing breakfast and lunch, but not dinner. However, we had a new RFP, so the plans potentially that we will open expanded hours with the same activities, if not more, evidence programming, and we hopefully will be open between 9 and 7, so the dinner meal, and will allow for people to come in later because there is a big demand for that. But all our current classes and probably expansion of those classes.
All right, Felix? You muted?
I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone. I'm Felix Ceballos. I want to know because in the last time we was talking about the lease and maybe we can get 20 years. I want to know if it continue like that.
Yes, the lease is going to be for 20 years, which is, we pretty much at the limit of how long we can get the lease for by, according to the New York City Administrative Code, which limits us to leases of 21 years or less.
Thank you.
All right. And Nasheed, if you wouldn't mind stopping to share your screen so we can see if there are any other questions from folks. All right, thank you. All right, taking a look at the chat, I don't believe we have any questions from the public. I'm just gonna ask just in case, and let me check the Q&A. If there are any questions about this public hearing item at this time or comments, please let us know. Also, final call for our board members. All right, just to provide the overview that I was speaking on, this did go before the Housing and Land Use Committee, and the committee made a recommendation. I believe folks are very familiar with Roundtable Senior Center. Some of our board members even go there. Oh, I see Ann. Okay, great, Ann. So we will be discussing this later on under committee reports, but the recommendation was favorable, of course, to retain this asset for the community. And if I'm missing anything else, and Mr. Camacho, feel free to add. Otherwise, I think we're all set. I don't see any other questions or comments. We're good?
I think we
Very
can take
good.
up the Housing and Land Use Committee report. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, thank
Yes.
you to both DIFTA and DCAS and Riseboro for being here. We appreciate you and we look forward to working together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right,
So
good
that
night.
concludes our first public hearing item. We'll move on now to our second one, and that would be the Hope Gardens Permanent Affordability Commitment Together, also known as PACT, the Rental Assistance Demonstration, RAD, a lot of big words, tiny acronyms, program update presentation. I'm not sure who we have joining us this evening, aside from Dewan. Dewan, I believe you were made a panelist already. Yep.
And are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
And now you're able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, you'll see multiple Dewans. A lot of folks from the team have joined us this evening. If you get a chance to rename yourself so that folks can see your actual name, that would be great. Because I sent them around the link, somehow they're all under my name. So I'll go through with a picture everyone who's joining the call.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not able to minimize this for some reason, but I hope everyone can see okay. So just by way of quick introduction, and overview of this whole process, if for folks that are or are not familiar, in 2018, NYCHA put out a request for proposal for one of their many sites that they are looking to go through this program that converts Section 9 housing to Section 8 housing. So the program and this project itself really benefits from the rehabilitation process. So there's a, we've gone through a lengthy and are wrapping up the major portion of the project of construction on the portion you see here in this picture that is known as Hope Gardens portion of the project. Through that program, we've spent the last 3 years engaging the community, speaking with NYCHA residents about their wants and things that are priorities to them. While the program is limited to, rehab of kitchens and bathrooms, common areas, roofs, exterior work, landscaping, and then energy upgrades, there's also the element of us working in lockstep with NYCHA and the ownership of the project, and you'll hear a lot about that, is granted to Penrose and our partner Acacia Network. Acacia Network happens to also be on site as an additional social service coordinator. So they work in partnership with the existing social service providers, Riceboro, which Department for the Aging just spoke about, and those two of those sites are on the development. So we're just quickly going to go through what's happened out on the project. We had a major hurricane event, and we'll kind of cover that. Whoops. And then we'll also go overview on where we're at with the renovations, and then also what we've been doing, what Acacia has been doing as far as tenant engagement, and then what the property manager Pinnacle has been doing out on site as far as maintenance and property management. Just quickly for who's on the call. Hello, my name is Dewan Stark. I work with Penrose. We are the owner for 99 years. We signed a 99-year ground lease with NYCHA to own, operate, and rehabilitate the NYCHA sites. Also on the line is Anthony, who is from Acacia Network. He's the on-site program director. He's housed out of that 85 Palmetto Gardens Senior Center that Riceboro runs. Kareem Alexander, who's on the line with me, is our Penrose asset manager, and she'll speak later about her role in the ongoing asset management of the project while I step away in the construction role, she will be there for the life of the project and helping to shepherd all that the work that property management has to do on a day-to-day basis out on the site. We're also joined by Pinnacle, the property manager, and we have folks here on the property management team that come from the community. You may recognize some of these folks. Jose Herrera has joined us. I think Iris is on the line, and I saw Paula, actually I saw Paula and Iris already on the line. And I think David is on the line as well. And then from the construction end, which on Hope Gardens is wrapping up, we're joined with Presida. And then we'll quickly touch base on our recovery, disaster recovery relief that's been going out on out at the site. The project was hit very hard, as was the Bushwick community, by Hurricane Ida. And we're continuing to do rehabilitation work. It's been a real hardship for families, but we're getting through the renovation work to remove any water damage from the hurricane, and are wrapping up that other scope that was added to the already existing construction scope that we had in place. So just to quickly roll right into that, we're still, going in from Hurricane Ida, we're still going into units and doing in-unit work. But just to recap on all that we have done, obviously water was cleared within the same day, evening. Folks were out on the site 24 hours. As soon as flooding started, trying to help residents and getting water cleared. We have all of our boilers that are back in service. We have had some remote boilers, but at one point in time, we had almost 40 boilers that were down as affected by the storm. Elevators have been put back on operations for some time now, months on end. And just as a real quick recap of where we started and where we are, and just to kind of show, these are all of the units that were affected. We had over 258 units of our 1,321 units out on the site that were affected by the hurricane. And we had a real devastation to the heating systems. And so we had just brand new boilers that we had put in across the site that we had to replace in mass quantities to get through the heating season. So residents were with heat, and at sometimes in the beginning there was temporary heat, but we're now getting everything back online for some time getting into the heating season. Just to go back to why we originally came out on site, which is to do this large rehabilitation program to all of what was formerly several different groups. There were part of Hope Gardens, Palmetto Gardens, NYCHA known as Bundle 3. There are 60 buildings across the site, and a portion of them is 4 buildings, which makes up another multiple 35 addresses over in Group E that we affectionately call it, which runs along Wilson Avenue, which is what is still in construction and what you see up on the screen. So the renovation will be wrapped up for interiors in early summer, and then the landscape work will wrap up in the summer. And those are the buildings that are between Wilson and Knickerbocker and bordered by Menahan and Linden. And those buildings are not only were hit very hard by the hurricane and the construction continues, but are still getting in-unit work completed. Roofing work is still in process with insulation and sealing going on as we speak. This is just a recap of what those buildings and where those buildings are that I described. There's Knickerbocker, there's Wilson. And then these are some of the ongoing work just to outline what's happening right now today out on site that's outside of the other construction project, which is now a insurance claim that is quite large related to Hurricane Ida. So residents are still having work done in these buildings. These are the last of the construction that will be completed this summer. Hope Gardens portion, which is just a snapshot here of the landscape area at Hope Gardens on the left, that we were able to have our family day at this summer, and Hope Gardens has completed construction. So all of the Menahans, all of the buildings over in the rest of the neighborhood over Palmetto Gardens have completed construction. So that 949 unit portion is completed with construction. This is just a snapshot also of the landscape and what the landscape work will include on the left over in Group E once the construction of the roofing and interior work is complete. This is just a before and after of what kitchens and bathrooms look like before the renovation work and then after. And Kareem, if you're able to chime in, if you could quickly just speak to the ongoing engagement and property management. And if not, let me know. Also, if you're able to, I don't know, Anthony, if you're able to access or able to chime in, if you want to speak to this slide, that's great. Actually have new contact for our children's, our family center. I just noticed that. But just to recap, these are the services. Department for the Aging just spoke about a couple of these where we have the senior centers that are centers that are run by Riseboro. And so these were existing, the Palmetto Gardens Senior Center, the Hope Gardens Multi-Service Senior Center. Those are ongoing, services that were there prior to us being and that will continue and that we support on the project. Celeste, if you're able to unmute Kareem, and that would be great. I don't know if she's saying she can't, but it might be because she's she's not one of the users.
Hi, good
Anthony.
afternoon.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Anthony. Thanks for chiming
Hi,
in.
good afternoon, community board members from the floor. My name is Anthony Ismail. I'm the program director for tenant services representing Acacia. So I know the time is short, but I just want to touch on some of the topics relating to service provision that we have been and continue to provide for residents of the Hope Garden Bushwick development, healthcare engagement, COVID-19 testing, COVID-19 home test kits distribution, assisting tenants with maintenance concerns as a go-between, tenant outreach, reinstatement of housing subsidies, recertifications, and assisting tenants with Section 8 policy changes, and also the completion of emergency rental assistance program applications, ERAPs, and one-shot deals when they're open. And just quickly, right now, we do have ongoing testing for COVID-19 at 314 Wilson and 85 Palmetto. We have 85 Palmetto twice a month and 314 Wilson once a week. We did have 4 times a month at 85 Palmetto. However, the need wasn't commensurate with the service, so we switched it to 2 weeks. And the great thing with that is that our seniors, many of them who are inflicted with chronic, health conditions, are able to get a test on site, receive the results on site, don't have to walk to far locations or stand outside in the cold and the rain. I'll take any questions if there are any regarding the service provision from Acacia for seniors and tenants at the Bushwick Hope Gardens development.
Can ask more questions at the end as well. And this is just a little recap. If you wanted to talk about a couple of these other things that are really important now and really talk about all that Acacia has been doing, which is a great ad. I mean, it's just to point out and show, I mean, there's been no replacement of the supportive services that were already out on the site. And Acacia has really come in just to bolster and fill in any gaps, with one of these being with the housing moratorium closing and really reaching out to residents, providing, intervention help when folks are getting behind on rent and assisting them with filling out some of these, some of these resources. If you could just touch on some of your work there?
Yeah, with the ERAP, besides just filling out the application, there's been also a lot of education and teaching as well with the tenants, because there was lots of misconceptions regarding the emergency rental assistance program when it was first rolled out. There was a perception on many of the applicants that it was an automatic that, you know, they would receive rental arrears assistance covering the entire amount that was owed, and that was not the case, because what eventually happened was assistance was provided to persons who received or had no housing subsidy first, and then anyone who received housing subsidy, such as Section 8, they were placed at the back of the lines. So that was one thing. ERAP was subsequently discontinued in November because of lack of funding. In January of 2022, it came back on stream. And it's sort of technical, so the tenants can't apply for a one-shot deal because the city is asking them to go for the state. And we've just been helping them filtering the applications, and also additional social service organizations such as the Bridge Fund that may provide them with assistance. And it's key to provide some teaching and explanation of exactly how the programs work. That way the tenants can prepare themselves in the event that either there are partial payments, complete payments, or zero payments, and the next steps. Because if it's not addressed in that manner, then they find themselves in eviction proceedings, which we try to avoid and reduce the amount of stress. We all know that food prices have been up, you know, with inflation 6.2%, and that's the largest we've seen in a couple of decades. So in addition to increases from Social Security for 2022 calendar year at 5.9%, Acacia is also taking the reins and do weekly food distributions, meeting dietary guidelines and health guidelines as well. We do the distributions once a week for both on Tuesdays. It was on Monday, we just switched to Tuesdays for both 85 Palmetto and 314. Tenants get an opportunity to receive healthy uncooked vegetables that they can prepare to their own choosing and their own liking. In addition to that, we also connect tenants to additional services for the community, such as home health aid, any substance abuse. We've also partnered with with the Rural Health and Wellness, where we have done telehealth presentation. This is where modern medicine is actually moving. And the Rural Health is opening a new facility, I believe, on Knickerbocker Avenue, which is much closer to the tenants who reside in the Bushwick Hope Gardens area versus where they are on Pitkin Avenue at the other locations. That's very important because with telehealth, many of our tenants who have and are managing ongoing health conditions to have the latest and greatest in technology with 24-hour monitoring, where if there are any changes in their personal health functioning, 911 and other healthcare personnel, will be dispatched to their location. So that's something that we're very proud of because it's where our modern medicine is moving. And then with COVID-19, we can continue to maintain social distancing and still provide tenants with updated and cutting edge medical provision and technology to help maintain their health and well-being.
Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate that. Yeah, there's been a lot of good work going on, and there has been partnership between, Riseborough and getting recertifications and helping tenants with that, and ongoing case management. Of course, from our existing providers that are already there on site and with Acacia. Kareem is actually in the picture that's right on the screen right now. If you want to hand over the next section.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. It worked this time. Yes, so we have also been working together with Acacia and property management to also do food distributions and other forms of like outreach with the residents with COVID PPL distributions as well. And yeah, that's me in the picture helping out. Also, we've been working with the building captains and the tenant association, building on that relationship and working together with property management to ensure that various concerns about maintenance and cleanliness on the property has been maintained. And the property management, I don't know if Iris or Jose is on the call. They can speak more to that.
Sure, you have David on the call, Kareem.
I did.
Hi, everyone. David Cerise, Senior Managing Director for Pinnacle City Living. We're responsible for the property management on site. You can see a nice shot. I think that was from Family Day, a great shot, Mr. Camacho and the team there. So we have approximately 30 members on site. Jose Herrera, who's also on the call, is the Managing Director who oversees the property. Iris, who's from the community, is the General Manager for the property. And underneath them, we have 4 maintenance supervisors, 4 maintenance techs, and 20 porters. As Dwan noted, it's a big operation, over 60 buildings, 1,300 units. We're removing over 100 tons of trash per week at the property. So it is a significant operation. If you go to the next slide, part of the things we do to help maintain the property are weekly janitorial inspections. We're inspecting every building once a week. We're now up to inspecting every building once every 2 days. I'm really making sure that we're addressing any issues that crop up at the property, maintenance or janitorial. We were at 15 porters, but in order to maintain a consistent staffing level, that was up to 20 porters, which allowed us to have a consistent number of porters throughout the week, 7 days a week. So we are running, an operation Monday through Sunday there. With the help of Mr. Camacho, we've also gotten some additional training for the maintenance and janitorial team, really kind of emphasizing, the basics of how to clean a building, how to mop a building, things to look out for, making sure you have all the proper tools and things to get the job done. So that's been an ongoing effort that we've continued to do for both the existing and the new team members that we brought on. And then weekly meetings that we hold with senior leadership in going through identifying areas we need to focus more attention to and coming up with plans to address them. So residents are able to submit work tickets by a variety of different means. They're able to call us, they're able to come into our management office, or they're able to go onto our website and submit those work orders online. We want to be available for residents however they want to interact with us, whether it's through phone or technology or in person. The site is staffed. We have a receptionist. We're always there for our residents. We are doing about 1,500 tickets per month. Whether that's something that is a question about my lease or issue in my apartment, we're making sure all those come in. They're tracked in a system. Folks are provided a task ID, which allows them to track that, and we work towards resolution on all those issues that come into our office. There's the link to the website. There's a little QR code there to Site Plan, which is our work order tool. We have access to the dashboards and make sure that all residents complaints with their phone call or walk-in or submitted through the app are tracked and addressed. So please, we're going to continue to encourage our residents to engage however they like, but certainly going to our website is a great resource of information.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Can we open up for folks that have questions, comments, anything that folks are concerned about with the rehab process, the ongoing construction in Group E, in those set of buildings, or hurricane work or property management?
All right, board members, any questions?
I have a question, Barbara.
Go ahead.
Hi, I want to ask them, do you give any special attention to the senior building?
Yeah, so there is, so Acacia, who was on the line earlier, as far as, what I would say special attention, we actually have them housed over at 85 Palmetto. And then at 330 Wilson, the property management office, the centralized location for the whole site is located right next door to the 330 building. So both of those buildings have the existing social service providers as far as programming, outreach, ongoing, food distribution. Those are definitely the households we contact first for any of the, either COVID testing or vaccination. And then as far as work tickets, those notes are added when there are either stop-ins, calls. Usually, with the senior population, it's going to be a phone call. So, there's notes put in those work tickets so that we know if it's a senior building. And, we already know those locations that are prioritized for folks that have special needs. There are notes, and I can see, I see those notes that it says, okay, this is an elderly woman who is has something that she needs help with, whether it's her toilet or whatever it may be. That's
Well, I get a
just an
lot of
example.
advice from the seniors about the wear and tear of the building, and some things they put in for is not getting fixed. And I really, really appreciate it if you guys, I see all the good things you're trying to do, but you really need to give a little more attention to our seniors, because, they're at your beck and call. I see all the beautiful grass that you're going to plant and everything, but concentrate on the inside of these buildings. That's more important than putting down grass and putting down trees and plants. Thank you.
Anyone else?
With a council member, Councilmember Nurse.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry if I missed this part, but I remember at the last meeting you all held, there was some units that were not giving access for repairs to be done. And there was an issue about the clock on the insurance running out. So I'm just wondering if that had been resolved. I'm sorry if you've covered this earlier in the presentation. Just a quick update on that.
Yeah, so Paula, who's on the line, has been spearheading the outreach to the residents who are needing access to get into their units to begin the repair. So the clock is still ticking on that. We do need access and demolition to start now for residents who are going to be able to get repair work done in unit for specifically the Hurricane Ida relief. So, she can speak to, some of the other electeds have been involved in phone calling and reaching out to residents already. Paula, if you're still on the line, if you could just give an update on your efforts and, who else is getting involved. And, if, as far as, we're concerned, we still in the next week or so would definitely could still use your assistance, your office's assistance in any way possible. Paula, are you still on the line? I saw her earlier. Or Iris, I know that
Yes,
Iris is also
I'm still
close to
here,
it.
Dawn.
Yeah,
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Hi. Well, out of the 13 residents, we were very successful in with 11 of those residents, and we're already in communication with the residents for the ongoing, the next steps, the process for the team to go in and to start scheduling appointments with these residents. We do still have two residents actually that we're any access to, but I have been working with Assemblywoman Davila's office and Evelyn, the Congressman's office, and Mr. Camacho and Sandy, Councilwoman, I'm so sorry. I've also sent emails with your staff, so it's working, we're getting there.
Yeah,
Okay.
but just to give an update. Oh, sorry. No, you go ahead.
I was just saying thank you. Thank you for the update. We'll support for sure.
Yeah, and even for those last few, we definitely would take the support just to get over the hump there. We're, really doing our last push in this upcoming week to get the demolition started on those units so that they can get, so that they're not waiting till later. I mean, the impetus really, just for others on the phone, is that there are people who have affected units. They're, units that were flooded. that have anywhere from, damage to their sheetrock to maybe because of the hurricane and the water infiltration that came in, that mold and things like that. And they, haven't been providing access. Some of it, quite frankly, is, the ongoing construction project, which has for a lot of families been difficult. Some families have been unresponsive through the rest of the construction project. So, for those last few households, we really appreciate getting over that hump, and we're really doing our last push this upcoming week.
Ms. Bennett, Jolina Bennett.
Yes, thank you. You spent a lot of time talking about the damage that was done by Hurricane Sandy, which I really appreciate. Were all of the damages covered by your insurance, or were the cost of repair also passed along to the tenant's rent that weren't covered by the insurance? And two, now that the eviction moratorium is over, do you have evictions pending for tenants, and how many from Hope Gardens?
I can take the first half of that, and then Iris, if you just want to chime on the exact number of our cases and where we stand with that. So for the first half of that, these are Section 8 recipients. In no way has their Section 8 been increased or their rent increased due to the storm. These are still publicly subsidized units, though, we're owner and manager operator. We are, their rents have not changed in any way related to the hurricane. The growing claim that's associated with Hurricane Ida has been really a kind of a in-house marvel. We were able, because Penrose is a national affordable housing company, we were able to utilize our company in a way to be able to cover the insurance claim and to be able to absorb the claim that we're faced with. That said, we are touching on kind of the access issues, and we want to get into all the units now. We don't want a situation that folks are not getting the rehab done now while all those construction workers are out on site, and any of that, the work is lingering on for residents and their families. For the second part, in the housing moratorium, we did touch a little bit upon what Acacia has been doing for outreach, and the folks that have gone through the ERAP application process. Those folks that are pending, we are still holding out and hopeful that we, though they are Section 8 recipients, will be able to get some of those reimbursements back. Iris can speak a little bit more to how many folks are in legal. So we're really striking a balance, because we have an agreement with non-displacement with NYCHA to both be, progressive in getting people to get assistance, go through their one-shot deal, go through ERAP or LRAP and get assistance. But with housing court opening back up, there are folks that are going to be going to housing court. So we're striking the balance of, we still have to try to recoup those funds, and we're trying to recoup them from the state resources that we can get first and foremost, and continuing to do the social service outreach, because we have a commitment to not displace residents. We're very carefully watched by not only NYCHA, but the state on any displacement. There has been 0 evictions. There was obviously a moratorium, but there has been 0 evictions at the site since we have taken ownership.
Thank you.
But Iris, could you just speak to kind of the legal status?
Hi, good evening. This is Iris. In reference to, I'm just going to try to turn on my camera. In reference to, Dawn said it perfectly. There is no one at this current moment that's at the stage of a marshal locking them out of the apartment. In reference to anyone who has not paid the rent, we have reached out, whether it was mail, I myself personally have knocked on doors, offer assistance. We did meet and greets with the resident to provide and give them information on applying for ERAP. Acacia, Riseboro also assisted. Some individuals applied on their own. And legally, if the person applied for ERAP, we cannot evict. And no one at this point is at the stage of the eviction. For those individuals that are a more difficult case are usually the ones that are standing in the succession. And these are individuals that are in an apartment and the legal tenant of record is not in the home. The bulk of them is because they've passed away. We provided applications provided by NYCHA to allow the current resident who's residing in the unit to apply for residency or succession of the unit. Those applications are still in review. The moratorium kind of set everything back. And they're not in the review in our office. Those applications went to NYCHA. They have to prove that they were staying in the unit at the time of the tenant of record being deceased. And I know that when they go before the judge is asking NYCHA to, reevaluate these applications. And that's where we are. We are constantly communicating with the residents. We're providing them assistance. We are revamping our office as well to provide more assistance to the tenants when they come into our office to have more availability to address certain things, like for those residents who have issues with their, for those tenants who have issues with their vouchers for one reason or another. They forgot the deadline, they didn't file the proper documentation internally, our office. And that's one of the things that Paula has been very instrumental in engaging the residents to move forward. So our intention is not to displace, our intention is to keep the residents in their homes. But then at the same time, we're also looking at the future, and we're hoping to, address a lot of the other issues and any nuisance that comes from, obviously were presented there from certain acts or actions of the tenants. So we are constantly on a monthly and weekly basis. We send out nuisance letters to any tenants who's committing an offense. Usually it's loud music, smoking, things of that nature is what we're sending nuisance letters, and we haven't captured anyone doing anything greater than that, than those minor infractions to send them straight to holdovers.
Felix Ceballo, and then is Desmond.
Yes, good evening, everyone. In the process of the construction, the building had to be empty if it's like that way you send in the tenants.
So the only units that, so this was a tenant in place rehab. As part of the rehab, there was really the only exception is a 5% conversion to comply with ADA standards. So there's 5% of our units who that were converted from, let's just say a typical apartment layout to now be go through the UFAS conversion process. Those residents had to be relocated, but they were all relocated through a very complicated shuffling process that property management does, and I am very happy I'm not a part of. But there were no, there were no tenants that for past those, it's approximately 30 days that they're out of their units while a full renovation is happening of those units. So they're making, the countertops lower in the kitchens, they're adding bars to the bathroom, reconfiguring the bathtubs, etc. So those units are not just the kitchen and bathrooms, they are a full gut. There were a few of that 5% of tenants that had the UFAS conversion that did stay in hotels where there was not units available. Those were very minimal across the whole 2-year process. But as far as the project as a whole, all rehab work is done in place. And I should have started with that introduction just to kind of set the stage. How the RAD program works is it's all tenant in place. So what happens is residents leave for the day in the morning, and contractors go in, they get, they get noticed before this happens, obviously, and they do the renovation work during the day. Then they leave around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then the tenants come back in the evenings. There are hospitality suites that are available for people that maybe, don't work or, really don't have any place to go during the day, that they can go to for the day, where there's internet, TV, etc. Most of those were not used. Most tenants just went to a family member's or a neighbor's home during the day while the renovation happened. So all of this happened, the massive shuffling process has already happened for 949.
Yeah, and the question was also because you mentioned you had in some case you had to change the whole system boiler.
Yeah, so the boilers were done with tenants in place. There was a period of time where there was days where we were without heat. Thankfully, when the hurricane hit in August, we were really at a clock race to get heaters in to, whether it was anywhere from the mobile heaters where they vent in the heat into the building, to, there were even space heaters utilized in the early months of this, but that was only for units that were affected by the hurricane. That was not for the what I would call the regular construction process. And there was a lot of reshuffling of units for those that were hit by the hurricane, because the leaving during the day and coming back at night for a few of those units it wasn't able to do that, because some of the units hit by the hurricane, I mean, they had refrigerators floating in their apartments. There were some units that really had massive massive destruction to their units that they had to be gutted. So there were some folks, but all of those folks were relocated out on the property.
Thank you.
Desmond?
Yeah, so I was just looking for numbers. When this project was brought to us, we talked extensively about the economic development issue, considering this project is kind of large financially. And we wanted to know about the MWBE spend, utilization of this project, also reutilization, not only with education, with training residents, but also with Section 3 business concerns, and what that outreach look like.
I'm gonna pop into the chat just some quick numbers. If you give me like 2 minutes, it may take me just a second, but I'm just gonna pop into the chat what our MWBE hires that we were able to attain. We had on the project 29 Section 3 hires, which means those were people. I mean, if you're familiar, you can stop me. But
I'm very familiar with Section 3. That's why I asked.
So our original goal was to have 25 on this project. So we're very happy that we exceeded. There are a lot of projects in New York that don't reach their goal. So we're happy on this project that we exceeded the goal that we originally had. That's for individuals. And we also were able to exceed the goal for companies, Section 3 companies. We also exceeded our goals for MWB hiring. I'll pop into the chat. I'm just looking for it for the graph that I have. So here it is. Let me see if I can do this real quick.
Also, I had a question. I used to work for Penrose back when Kimberly Fry was the president, and you guys had, we had at the time in-house social services called the Family Resource Center Initiatives. I know they had them in, Diamond Street and other properties. Has that not been implemented here? Is that why you're using Riceboro?
Yeah, so there's a couple of it's definitely different. New York itself is different because NYCHA is different. And the scale so those projects are PMC, internally Penrose Management Company. And they have their own in-house Penrose. We have our own supportive services department, our own supportive service programs, and then we partner with other local programs. That is different here in that we actually, PMC isn't at the scale of a 1,300 unit yet. We're getting there. That's, I don't want to let out any secrets, but we are working, internally within Penrose to look to the future, bringing Penrose and PMC into the fold on the supportive services end. So it is something we're excited about, and having those, national programs and kind of the national synergies that Penrose has into our future projects, especially where, there isn't necessarily a provider already established. In this case, NYCHA, and we agree that NYCHA is very heavy on letting the existing providers stay in place, not displacing anyone who, any organizations who are already there. So Riseboro was already there. Bushwick United was already there. I'm going to butcher their name, the Hispanic family, someone help me, Hispanic Family Services.
Coalition of Family Services.
Thank you. Coalition of Family Services was already there. So, we, not only as NYCHA's initiatives, but ours as well, we were not looking to displace any, existing providers, just to bolster their services. And that's what Acacia came in with, just to bridge the gaps and help with anything that Riseboro, wasn't doing, help with anything that Bushwick, wasn't doing, just for the little bit of referrals that needed to happen out on site.
Celeste, you have something to say?
I do. I have several questions, and I'll try to go one at a time. I just want to know a few things. The percentage of employee. I'm sorry, Mr. Camacho, you have something? Okay. The percentage of employees that live in Bushwick. Do you have those numbers?
I do. I can share. I can share that with you guys.
Okay. Feel free. Yeah, you can feel free to put that in the chat if you need a minute to pull it up. And then my other question is regarding any data or feedback from the tenants on social services, or if there's any system for quality assurance, any kind of metrics on that.
So there is ongoing assessment of our social services that happens. So we do, and Acacia, Anthony, if you want to speak to this as well. So they do, as a coordinator, in the coordinator role, they have annual reporting and evaluation on the services provided in line with our social service agreement with them. But then also, in lockstep, Riceboro has their own metrics that they do on an annual basis, as well as Bushwick United. Those are each done. I don't know if that's something that is shared out. Anthony, if you don't mind answering that portion, that's what I'm not sure of.
Yeah, thanks, Duan. I mean, based on the contract that we have, our role, as you rightly said, is a coordinator role where we do coordinate services for tenants as opposed to directly providing services for tenants. And I think sometimes that distinction is misinterpreted. And for example, if someone needs assistance with medical, or let's say psych or substance abuse, what Acacia will do is go into an assessment, meet with the tenant in question or tenants, family members, try to figure out what exactly it is that they need, what they want, locations, etc., and partner with other community service providers to actually assist those tenants in attaining those goals, instead of directly providing them, because the team and the contract was designed in a coordinator role and not a direct service role. However, we do provide tenants with quite a bit of direct services, such as Section 8 recertifications. We also coordinate COVID-19 testing. We do some financial counseling, although we have not been able to hold classes because of the surge with COVID-19. But for every tenant who has rental arrears, in applying for either a one-shot deal or an ERAP application, we also do some financial services counseling as well. So our role is, while we do provide some direct service, it's more for coordinating role, sorry.
Understood. Thank you. And I bring that question up because I just want to make sure we're framing any concerns that are coming from the tenants in a way where whether it's the management, social services can constructively respond and figure out how to better accommodate them and their needs. Council member, you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, just very, very briefly. I remember the January meeting, there was a conversation about local hiring. And you all were looking into some vendors who you could work with locally. And I just, again, sorry if I missed that part of the presentation, but it was just kind of dovetailing off of Desmond and Celeste's question about any motion on that.
Yeah, so we, right after that meeting, actually not even after, during, Dylan reached out to St. Nick's Alliance to see about their local hiring that they have for temporary property management. That, you know, they actually at that time didn't have anyone that was available for immediate services. But it is definitely, you know, I think what we realized in doing the research after that last call is that it's something that, and David, you could chime in here, it's something that we're going to have to take a different approach, is because when we need those emergency services, A, they're temporary, so it's not long-term work for a lot of people that are looking for long-term work, and B, it's something where we've got, because the procurement process takes some time to get those local hires, it's something we've got to build up ahead of time. So, you know, it's definitely something that we had looked into, but we can circle back up on our next electeds call just to follow up with that on, you know, kind of getting our storage of, you know, like having that resource more readily available. It still does take some time, that it's difficult when we have, and, you know, and this is specifically just for others on the phone, we, you know, when the Omicron was really hitting hard and we had half of our property management staff out for either, you know, children who were quarantining, children that were sick with COVID, staff that was sick with COVID, staff quarantining. We did end up using a private company just to come in as an emergency situation to cover and clean the properties, because that, you know, those 20 tons of trash cannot wait until people are off of, you know, COVID. So, you know, the ask was really that we have that, you know, that emergency staff be local. So we are, that's something we're definitely have looked into and are still continuing to work on.
Celeste,
Yes.
may I?
Oh, go ahead. Yes, please.
Okay. I know I come it's not a question or it's just I know everybody on this, because I report every month to this board in regards to our tenants, our heat complaints, our cleanliness in the buildings. I remember I had a conversation with David in regards to sanitation and garbage. And now that we have our sanitation chairperson and council, there's issues in regards with the garbage. If they put the garbage in front of the development and across the street, you have a big unit and it's market rate housing, sanitation picks up the garbage. But when it comes to us, they got to lug it, because they're a private entity now, to a designated area where they got a cubic yard container. And these guys are all day picking up garbage. So we had set something up where we wanted more pickup spots for the garbage to be cleared, because they're spending over $400,000 a year or even more in garbage, when across the street they're market rate housing in big buildings and they're getting paid and they're not charging them. So we really need to find out what's going on with that. And I had spoken today. I don't know what's going on. Maybe David Cerise could speak on what happened with the fighting that I've been doing to find out if we can continue keeping the services through DYCD, Department of Sanitation, and also our tenants in regards some of the complaints that I get. I know it looks, you guys did a wonderful job. We can build a beautiful building, but if everybody's in there is not respected and not in any way not treated fairly, then the good building can go. This is my suggestion, could go to hell, because we want my seniors and I want my people that live in that development to be treated like anybody else in their development. And in regards to calling, when they call and someone pick up the phone there, the disrespect, and when people walk in there, these are the tenants telling me this. And I tell them to go and put it in writing and bring it to me. Some of them are walking on pins and needles, and they shouldn't be. And we shouldn't be treating our people this way. I don't care who it is. No matter what it is, we need customer service the right way in front of that desk. On that phone call, we need customer service. On that cleaning mechanism, supervisors need to be responsible and hold them accountable for not cleaning them. I see in there, you said cleanliness charges beginning will be implemented. But when is it going to be implemented? When are we going to see that they're doing their due diligence and the supervisor that's making the money get that? I've been on the forefront on there, so I know more or less what's going on. I listen. I also want to thank Paula because she goes on her own. I also want to thank Alexis because I go and I supply stuff to our seniors there. And I hear when I knock on their doors, some of the things that they tell me. I go knock on their doors and I go when they give a complaint, I go knock on their door and speak to them. Heat 431, still no heat on Evergreen 431. We still got heat complaints from there. There are things that you guys can do. You can do a beautiful building. You can do a beautiful presentation, but they need the service. And all these elected officials that are here, I'm not saying it because I'm saying it because our people in there really needs help and no one's listening to them. And no one's listening to them. I don't get paid for this. And then to have people tell me where is that? And I go over there. No, you should know where everything is because you run the building. You did a beautiful presentation in regards to how the building should be run and work. So let's start implementing what you say you're going to implement. Are our people back in the floods that are in there that are still building? Why is it taking so long? You got developers building a building in a year and we can't fix an apartment in less than a couple of months. These are what I want to hear. All that other thing is nonsense. When am I going to get my seniors and my church people that are getting calls from this church lady? You know who she is. We really need to treat our people with a little more. I want to have a town hall, and I don't want no one there but the people that are impacted. And I'm going to write down all these things and find out, and I'm going to go back and check. Because it's easy to paint something and not go in there and see our people and make sure that we are right. And I'm going to request to this board. I don't know if you guys already went through or got the permit for the 9-year lease. I hope this board allows me to create an extension for their probationary period. We need to write to HUD, to NYCHA, to all these elected officials that are on here now, the senator, the councilwoman. We really need to hold them accountable because once they get what they want, we're going to be with the same thing. So we really need to hold them accountable and make sure that our people are being treated right. Because if it's your mother, it's your father, or your family, you want the same respect, no matter if you pay $5, $2, or $3. So this is what we really need. And we really not now, right now. Times are really hard. And now you see everything that's going on. I allow everyone to speak. I'm the one that's in the forefront all the time. I bring services, PPE, to inside our seniors. I bring services to Whole Garden. I bring them food. I do myself. I ask and call you guys with Gloria. So I know what I do in the services that I bring, that I get from other people to bring to Whole Garden. So you guys that got the services, have you guys ever went to speak to the Coalition Hispanic Family Services? There's no heat in that building where them kids are going there for after school program. Has anybody went, any of the big bosses, Cerise, David Cerise, or Dylan, gone over there and speak to the director? Have y'all set up something? I have to go set up a meeting to meet your tenants? How is that even possible? I don't get paid. So those are things that you guys need to be doing. And we really need to focus on the people in that building. And I encourage all these board members. Miss Spellings, yes, I saw Miss Budding. Miss Budding has a beautiful place. Only thing she don't have is furniture. So I'm gonna see if we can get her some furniture. She's trying to get her son. So she's in there, she's beautiful. And we thank you for bringing Miss Budding in there. And I went and visited her myself. They didn't even know what floor she was in. And I went and I saw her. Those are my people that I want to make sure that we keep here. Those are our people, our school teachers, our employees, and our people that live in this community that have been disenfranchised to this day now. And we want them, you guys, to be treated with the utmost respect. And I don't care what it is. I better not hear anyone disrespecting our seniors when they're asking for services, when they're asking for stuff and they're scared to talk and speak to you guys. They prefer getting and wasting their money than to talk to you guys that no one gets nothing done. So we really need to find out what's going on. It's all good to do a pretty picture, but the inside is what we got to look inside. Thank you, Celeste.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. And I will let everyone respond, but just want to time check. And I know that there's still other questions, but we will follow up. And if we need to set up a separate meeting, we will absolutely do that. But Dewan, if anyone else would like to speak or respond to that, now's the time.
Yeah, I'll let David, if you don't mind chiming in, and Iris, if you guys are looking in the background at any specific units that do not have heat, that would be great. I can chime in specifically on the hurricane relief and, you know, the extent of time that folks have been waiting for the renovation process to be completed. So the hurricane relief renovation process has included not only for the units to have air filters put into the units, for the rehab work to be completed, residents needed to be relocated, and in their units, the scope of the completion of the units, a lot of the scope that was originally determined was acerbated by additional mold remediation that needed to be done. So the extent of time that residents were out of their units actually has been extended. Folks are getting back into their units. We have first batch of HQS, what am I trying to say? Where NYCHA inspections, thank you, where NYCHA has come in to look into the units so that tenants can get back into their units and inhabit them. So there's a threefold process. First was the relocation, then was the actual construction work that was increased. Then there was the voucher piece for some residents that needed to have their vouchers turned back on because they were temporarily relocated. And then there has been special inspections, and then there has been inspection by NYCHA. This is all part and parcel to not equal to a new construction process. You can never compare a new construction project to a tenant in place project. This is a project that is defined by non-displacement. So they're not apples to apples. So in saying that this has taken longer than we would like, that is true, but the entire project and the rehab work that needed to be done for residents to return to their units post-hurricane has been, quite complex. But residents are going to be able to start returning as early as next week in those units that passed HQS inspection with NYCHA. So we are getting the first batch. Those will continue to roll in and work will continue to be done. Some of the residents are still out of their units, have had walls and things that need to be done. There's a litany of things across residents, and there's a lot of resident concerns. And we're very, very sympathetic to people that just want to come back to their homes, and this process has taken longer than they would like, than we would like. I think everyone on the call is working with First Onsite, which I think they're on the phone to get residents back in their units. They are the emergency disaster relief company that has come in to do the construction work. I know Paula on the line has worked tirelessly to contact residents, reach out to them, speak to them, call them, to coordinate with them, not only for the construction work, but then also for their relocation. And then David, if you want to just speak to a bit about some of the heat concerns that Mr. Camacho brought up, and also the concerns about cleanliness, and specifically if there's any senior cases, Iris, that you heard of that Mr. Camacho was referring to.
Sure. So taking the heat, we currently have a heat complaint from 431. We also have a heat complaint at 236 Linden, apartment 3C. That's currently being investigated. So we make sure to go out, we investigate and correct each of the issues. In 431, it is a building wide, the heat is on. We have an employee who works in our office who lives there. She stated and has confirmed the heat is on, but they want more heat. So we are actively working to get more heat into that building without obviously jeopardizing the system itself. So we are working on that. And we are currently, we just dispatched somebody for the Linden heat complaint. So we are working on the heat issues. I can say that last month was one of our largest months as far as heat complaints, troubleshooting thermostats, folks with air conditioners still in their windows, folks, for whatever reason, had a broken valve in their unit. So I can say that January, given the change in temperature, we were out there. I think, we did, close to 100 heat complaint investigations and remediations. So the team is working on it. They're out there. On the cleanliness, Mr. Camacho, this isn't public, but we have engaged a new trash removal company. We're working through with them on the transition to come in and assist. With DSMY, as you know, as much as we push for curbside pickup, they said that's not happening. That's never going to happen. We looked into each location, and I could show you the breakdown of doing these kind of satellite pickups. Each location was coming out to about $250,000 and would require about a third of the residents' parking lots to be, taken over by basically a trash site. So I think that's something we should revisit together and talk about and make sure we get the community's input. But the cost savings would be there on a return basis, but it would, I think, be at the detriment of folks' quality of life given the parking lots. But I do appreciate your help. We need to make sure that we get the trash out as efficiently as possible. And right now, we think this current path with the cubic yard containers is going to be the best for our residents, and both cheapest going forward and also the best for the residents. On the staffing, we upped the staff. Your assistance there was fantastic. We went from 15 to 20. We are holding our supervisors accountable. It is a problem where we are not seeing the buildings enough, and that's why we went from, and you see it, you shouldn't have to see it, right? It's us, it's our responsibility. That's why we went from the one building every 5 days to each building every 2 days, making sure that we are seeing everything that comes up. Issues can't sit for 5 days. By the time an inspector comes, they need to be taken care of the next day. And that's why we've gone to the every building every 2 days inspections. So we are hearing you. We know we need to do better, and we will.
Okay, just want to time check. I don't know if there are any final comments from the RAD team. Otherwise, we need to wrap up this item. Is there anyone else?
Yes, it's me, Evelyn. Hi, Celeste and everyone else, and Councilwoman Sandy Nurse. Again, I'm listening to Roberto Camacho, the chair, and I know that it seems like I know there's been some improvements. We've been talking and meeting a few weeks ago, discussing very similar issues, but concerns still arise. So when we have our next meetup, I like us to, again, broach this more concretely, okay? The Congresswoman, as I expressed before, and I shared with all of you, we remain concerned with the social service component. The social service component, especially for the elder community, the disabled community, and the development. And I think, Anthony, you can speak to this. I had asked that there be an implementation of a work plan to visit the development, to set up a schedule where developments will be visited, where you will table at each development weekly, right? So that you can get to meet and greet the tenant in their space. Many residents do not leave their space, do not want to walk to your office for services. So you don't need to answer now, but we definitely want a response to that strategy. Why is that important? Because then you get to meet like Doña Amalia, who needs social services and she is unable to get out the door. I don't have a problem driving her to the office, but that should not be my role. This is precisely why Riseboro and Acacia have been designated to assist and support our constituents. So if this is an issue that neither agency is able to do this, then we need to discuss this, because again, I know Camacho gets very emotional, but it is emotional because I saw many units myself. I was in the buildings with Angel, with Davila's office as well. And many tenants were happy, but many tenants, again, remain fearful. They don't like to complain because they feel they're going to be retaliated against.
Yes.
And this is not acceptable. And I'm sure that no one is per se threatening, but it's all about the delivery and the tone. You hear my tone, I become threatening when I use my voice like this. Well, when someone who is of older age gets spoken to like this, they feel threatened. So we need to respond to this and resolve it as best as we can. It is important. I'm grateful that Paula was able to get out there to connect with the residents. We had discussed this plan. As you know, Dawn and David, we had discussed this collectively. I'm glad that that has been accomplished. So that's an A+ for you. Now, the other piece is, I have a question. You don't have to answer now, but if you do have the information, that will be helpful for the councilwoman that's on the call as well. Rising heating cost. As we know, in North Brooklyn, the Con Edison bill, the electric bill, has really more than doubled for New Yorkers. I want to know if Hope Gardens has a plan in place to assist our tenants with this issue, because even though we have new thermostats in the units, a few apartments that we visited, they were still cool, even though the thermostat was reading like 75, right? So I think some of our seniors, they get cold, they're using space heaters. We would like to know when we meet up again, what is your assessment of, do you have an assessment of any of the residents' heating costs? Is this something that the social service team has connected with? Is the social service team connecting with the seniors or with families to discuss or to learn if they have been impacted by rising heating bills? Okay? Something we need to know.
All right, folks. So I know we could continue this conversation probably until tomorrow,
Yes.
but unless I
Yes.
want a bunch of angry board members to ask me why our meeting goes till 9 p.m. today, which I do not want that,
Unless
we
we
have
got-
to wrap up
we got-
right now.
So
I'm
let's-
so
we got-
sorry. We could plan a town hall. We could have a meeting specifically for this, but we need to wrap up now. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to the RAD team. We all work together. So even if we sound upset, we're just upset because we love our people in Bushwick and we want to find out and find ways to make it better. So, we're here, we're going to work together and we're going to get things done. Thank you, Evelyn and Carlos.
Thank
I
you.
see you. If it can wait, if you absolutely have to say it, please say it now. Otherwise, we have to end this item.
We're good. We're good.
Okay, perfect, amazing. And we have a dedicated team of elected officials that have these meetings monthly. Hopefully we can have a public comment period on this as well, just to make sure we're being as effective as possible. All right, so thank you, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and move on from this item. Folks are welcome to stay if they would like, but we have to get our regular meeting going. We're gonna go ahead now and close our public hearing agenda. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Duan, David, Paula, Iris. I'm missing a few people, Kareem. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. And now we'll start our regular meeting with our first agenda item. Board members, please be ready for the first roll call.
Thank you for the time.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. All right. Please be ready, board members. Marcus Alston, Reverend Grace Gates, Joanna Bennett,
Here.
Joshua Brown,
Present.
Martha Brown,
Present.
Raul Brown,
Present.
Robert Camacho.
Present.
Thank you. Guardier Caphart and Melissa Carrera requested to be excused. Felix Ceballos,
Present.
Louisa Chan.
Present.
Thank you. Andrew Choi,
Present.
Daniela Davi, Elvina Davis,
Present.
Carlos Feliciano, James Fitzgerald,
Present.
Freddie Fowler, Igati Gomez,
Present.
Christopher Graham,
Present.
Ann Guiney,
Present.
Jose Guzman,
Present.
Hadia Harrison,
Here.
Jared Hicks, Tanisha Honeygan,
Present.
Barbara Jackson,
Here.
Kristen Jock,
Here.
Cheryl Jones,
Present.
Virgie Jones,
Present.
Luisa Jose,
Present.
Andy Marte requested to be excused. Mary McClellan, Imani Mitchell,
Present.
Desmond Monroe, Sammy Namir Olivares, Kyle O'Rourke,
Here.
Zuma Navoa requested to be excused. Desire Polite,
Present.
Gladys Bulia,
Present.
thank you. Raul Rubio,
Present.
Eliseo Ruiz, Bernardina Shell,
Present.
got you, Eliseo, thank you. Barbara Smith,
Present.
Justin Somborn, Annette Spellin,
Present.
Leo Teneo,
Present.
Jerry Valentine,
Present.
Carlotta Williams,
Present.
Oldhoff Wright, Frank Zimmerman.
Oh, sorry.
Present.
Got you, Dustin. Got you, Frank.
Thank you.
Thanks, Celeste.
All right, Mr. Camacho, were you keeping a tally or should I count
Yes,
them?
35.
35 board members present constitutes a quorum. Thank you, everyone. We'll move on now to our second agenda item, which is acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion from the board?
James Fitzgerald, I make a motion to accept the agenda.
Okay,
Raul
James.
Rubio seconds.
Thank you, Raul. All in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved. The third agenda item, acceptance of the previous meeting minutes. Is there a motion from the board?
Robert Smith make a motion to accept the previous minutes.
Oh, Annette beat you to it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. And agenda item number 4, the chairperson's report, Mr. Camacho.
Hi, all. I just want to let everybody know, thank you for all you guys participating and coming and getting our full board meeting, and please, the attendance. Let's keep it up to par. We're doing great. Also, whoever needs to reapply, please, I'm letting y'all know, you got to reapply. Whoever's up for reappointment, please. If anyone needs any assistance, you can call Celeste. She'll guide you, or she'll help you fill it out, or whatever it is. Please. January 20, Thursday at 2 p.m. Me and Celeste and we met with safety educator Lee Eastman, the borough commissioner. January 23rd at 6 p.m. the CEC meeting. January 20th, that same Thursday. You know, I'm doing like 100 Zooms, and I don't know how I do it, but the borough board meeting. January 24th, Monday at 6:30, East New York. The land trust, they had a rally, abolish the tax lien. So we got to make sure, you know, with that tax lien that's going on, we hope all the elected officials put for that tax lien, abolish it, because a lot of people in our community are going to lose their homes, 2 and 3 family homes. So either tax lien or water bill. So we got to make sure that that they abolish the tax liens, because not all the scoop developments will be right there trying to pick up them liens. January 25th, Tuesday, the Housing Land Use Committee. January 26th at 1 p.m. a meeting with David Lewis, the Deputy Commissioner of Community Affairs Unit. On the 27th, Thursday, 1 p.m. Zoom, Shaper Bushwick. January 27th at 3 p.m. Linden Grove Development. We had a meeting with them. January 27th at 6 p.m. Zoom, the District Office Committee meeting. January 31st, Monday at 3:30, Zoom meeting, sanitation. We met with the new Brooklyn director, Joanne Barnes. February 1st, Tuesday at 6 p.m. the Borough Board meeting. January 2nd, Wednesday, the Executive Board, CB4. February 3rd, Thursday, 10 p.m. Hope Garden walkthrough. Y'all heard we need to help Hope Garden out and help our people there. Hopefully I'll do a town hall. We'll get other people to talk. February 3rd, Thursday, 5 p.m. sanitation work group. February 4th, Friday at 10 a.m. Hope Garden updates. February 5th, Saturday at 12. I went to the rally. As you know, they're trying to make them permanent sheds permanent. The open restaurant, permanent sheds. Some of them don't even need to be permanent. Some of them forget about it. You should see. Some of them are abandoned. I don't think they even know, DOT even know what they got. But on February 9th, Tuesday, 9 a.m., DOT, Department of Correction on Zoom. On February 9th, Tuesday, 10, I also testified on the open restaurant roadways. I stood there all day just to testify. On February 9th, Tuesday at 12, CB4, we met with the park commissioner about the ball field on Knoll Street. Hopefully we can get some money to close that place up. They're using it as a dog park. So the park committee will fill you in on it. On February 8th, Tuesday at 6 p.m., Economic Development and Permits and License. On the 8th, Tuesday, 6 p.m., Town Hall with Sandy Nurse, our council person. We were on there. On the 9th, Wednesday, at 10:30, District Service Cabinet meeting. Everyone comes to the cabinet. That's great. All the city agencies. On February 9th, Wednesday at 1 p.m., met with the new ambassador from Brooklyn North NYPD. On February 9th, Wednesday at 2 o'clock, we gave PPEs. That was that Friday. That was Friday. No, Wednesday. I got it now. I met the detective Polioli, one of the officers that's been in the A3 for a long time. Just got promoted to captain. We're gonna miss him. Hopefully he comes back. On February 10th, Thursday at 6 p.m., Special Housing Land Use Committee. February 11th, Friday the 10th, that's a Hope Garden PPE I gave away. On the 11th, that Friday at 11 o'clock, me and Celeste went to the Cobra Center of Excellence, the new one on Beaver Street that they got there. So you guys got to go check it out. It's nice. February 15th, Tuesday at 11, the Bushwick Community Partnership from 11 to 12. On the 15th, Tuesday, 6 p.m., the A3 Community Council with Barbara Smith. On the 16th, on Wednesday, which is today, the A3 Precinct Clergy meeting, and today the full board meeting. And that's the end of my meetings for the month. Any issues, concerns, or anything? None?
Going once, going twice. Questions for Mr. Camacho?
Questions, concerns?
Yes, so I just want to say, well done.
Oh, thank you, Gladys. Thank you.
4 and 3.
I do also want to say thank you so much, Mr. Camacho.
No, thank you. Thank you.
So busy, so appreciate what you do for our community.
Nah, without you guys, I wouldn't be, man. You guys give me the strength to keep going, man. That's what it is, man. It's all about us, man. And we have to look out for each other, man, because this place is getting crazier and crazier. So we got to take care of our people, man.
That's it. All right. I'm sorry, go ahead, Barbara.
I told Robert, very good, short and sweet. I raised them well.
Perfect. All right. If there are no other questions for Mr. Camacho, I know we have our council member with us, Councilmember Nurse. I don't know if you would like to say a few words to everybody. Now is the time, and then we'll continue with the rest of the agenda.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me a second. And just coming from that public hearing, we've been going to those monthly meetings, and I'll reach out in the morning. I've already texted folks on the side. We'll support with some door knocking for tenants who need to make access for the repairs and issues around the sanitation. We will certainly reach out with Mr. Camacho. You know, this company is also bidding all over for the PAC conversion. So the lessons we're learning here, we need to also share with other tenants all over so that they know what they're getting into when these presentations are being made. A lot of these decisions are made in a small group with no public support for the tenant association presidents who make these decisions about which companies are going to manage these buildings. And so we have to support them with our knowledge we're learning here. So just on our end, we did have a town hall. We're planning to also have a town hall on March 22nd, Broadway Junction, around the Broadway Junction redevelopment. We really encourage all of you to get involved. We need to get organized around this. There's a pre-app for the ULIP process that has already been put in with the city. So let's show up and really make sure that this looks like what we need it to look like. So we'll be sending that around. We're going to be doing some giveaways, and I'll put my information in the chat. And just to let you know, our first sanitation meeting will be on the 4th. The mayor's budget just came out today. There are a lot of cuts on top of last year's cuts. It is really going to hurt. So we need everybody's voices in there around trash, around education, housing. Everything is being cut. So we really need community to be attentive to this budget fight. So we'll put in all of that information so that you all have it. You can come, express your concerns, testify, submit testimony. We also were at the hearing around the potential to change the program for outdoor dining to a permanent program. It's a big issue across the city. Most of the community boards in New York City are against this. So we need your input. Please reach out to us with, you know, what you want to see, how you want to see this program look, anything that you want to offer that we can raise up through the community. So I'll keep it short, but more to come, and we're here ready to work with you all. So please reach out to us. Michael from our team does the constituent services. He's available anytime. We are also doing every second Tuesday of the month, late hours till 8 p.m. for constituent services. So for folks coming late, we'll try to do some satellite offices starting in March. So thank you all, and glad to be here with you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Questions for the council member?
I just want to thank the councilwoman for her town hall. It was very informative.
Thank you, Ms. Annette.
Perfect. Anyone else? Questions? Carlos, did you have a question?
Oh, no question.
Okay, your hand was raised. That's why I asked. Okay. All right. If there are no more questions for the council member, going once, going twice. All right. Thank you for joining us this evening. All right. We'll move on now with the introduction of our elected officials. I'm pretty sure I have everyone here. If I do not call your name or your office, it's not intentional. Please just let me know in the chat. I have, starting with the Mayor's Community Affairs Unit. Malcolm.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Community Board 4. It's always a pleasure to be here. My name is Malcolm McDaniel. I represent the Mayor, the Honorable Mayor Eric Adams. The only thing I have today was basically I'm gonna share the link of the mayor's
Yeah, excuse me.
preliminary budget.
Yeah, excuse me, Malcolm, just name and contact info right now. Just
Oh,
the
sure.
intro. Yeah, yeah.
Sure,
You
sure,
feel free to
sure.
drop anything
Yeah,
in the
right,
chat.
right. I was that's what I was doing. I was just letting everybody know I'm gonna drop everything in the chat. The real big thing is just giving everybody the link so they can review Eric Adams' budget of the mayor's budget for 2023. Of course, the councilwoman already mentioned it, so she already took the thunder out of it, but it's okay. My direct contact is 212-676-3033, and my cell phone number is 347-669-6683. If you have any problem that you like me to look into municipality wise or you need resources, please reach out to me. Thank you and enjoy your day.
Thank you. Congresswoman Velasquez's office. Evelyn?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Again, thank you for the opportunity to say hello. My office number is 718-599-3658. Our office is located at 266 Broadway in Williamsburg on the corner of Havemeyer and Broadway. And I will add our link. We are having limited hours in the office, but I will add the link to our office for any kind of intake or any kind of help. We're here full-time to assist you. And I'm going to be jumping off the call, Celeste, because I'm going to join a school board meeting now. But I wanted to share that the Congresswoman introduced 2 bills on gun violence last week to see how we can help stem and stop the gun violence in our community. So I'll share that online as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn, for everything.
Thank you, dear.
All right, District Attorney Gonzalez's office, Jonathan.
Hi, good evening, Celeste. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Pomboza. I do public engagement for District Attorney Eric Gonzalez. I bring greetings from the DA. My direct line is 718-250-2817, and our action center is 718-250-2340, and we're located at 350 J Street in downtown Brooklyn. Thank you.
Thank you. Assemblywoman Davila's office.
Hello, hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Yvette Lopez. I'm the Communications Director for Assemblywoman Marta Davila. We are located at 249 Wilson Avenue in Brooklyn, and our contact number is 718-443-1205. Thank you.
Thank you. Assemblyman DeLon's office.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pamela Fernandez. I am the constituent liaison for Eric M. DeLon's office. Where our office is located at 366 Cornelia Street, zip code 11237, and our phone number is 718-386-4576.
August, are you finished all your homework?
Thank you. Thank you, folks. Please keep an eye on mute in case you need to. And if folks can just drop the info that they're sharing in the chat as well, we got a request for that. And then last I have Senator Salazar's office, Carlos.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's so great to see all of you and the incredible work CB4 does. So I'm going to make a quick update because I have to jump off the call for another call that I have. But our office is open. I want to make sure everyone knows. Our office on 212 Evergreen Avenue, 11221. We are open, so you can come from 10 to 6. A quick update, tomorrow is the last day before we have to submit our budget priority letters. So if you have an organization, aren't part of an organization that maybe needs some funding, please send that ASAP between today and tomorrow. I'll drop all the information in the chat. We also have masks and we have test kits. So please also reach out to us. We want to make sure that we can distribute to any community organizations or any tenant association that needs it. And just want a quick update. The center is working really hard on the good cause eviction bill. We're very encouraged by several large unions that have actually supported it, and the mayor has come out in support of it. Really fighting to make sure that we can keep New Yorkers in their homes. I'm going to drop all the information in the chat. Please feel free to reach out to me or call the office. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, if I missed anyone, it was not intentional. Please just let us know in the chat, and there'll be another opportunity a little bit later today to introduce yourself and share any announcements. Next, we have introductions of CBO, community-based organization, and city agency representatives. I saw a few this evening. Again, just feel free to put anything in the chat in case I missed you. Starting with the Bushwick Star.
Hi, everyone. This is Noel Elaine. I'm the Artistic Director at the Bushwick Star Theater. Our address is 419 Eldert Street. That is the building that we are our new home, so we're not fully in that location yet, but that is our address. You can send us mail there. Also, you can send an email to me at Noel, Noel, @thebushwickstar.com, and I'll put that in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Noel, how you doing, Noel?
I'm okay. I'm okay, Camacho. Thank you. Yeah, expecting a baby any day now.
Oh boy, that's good. You or your wife?
All right, very exciting. Next, I have the North Brooklyn Coalition Against Family Violence.
Hi, good evening. This is Ariella from the North Brooklyn Coalition. I'll actually drop the general email in the chat, as today is going to be my last meeting representing the coalition. Yeah, I'll be around though. You guys will see me. Don't even.
Don't be a stranger.
Yo, you leaving us? You got another job? How you guys do that?
Yeah, I did, but I'm gonna still be around. Like, you guys will see me. Trust me.
Oh, I hope so. I know who you going with.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Ariella. And I don't have anyone else on my list, but again, feel free to drop your info in the chat and we'll make sure you have an opportunity to say an announcement a little bit later today. And moving on now, we have next our 83rd precinct update. I believe we have the captain with us this evening. Captain Claxton.
Yes, hello, good evening, FCB4. How's everyone doing today? Thank you for having me again. I'm glad to be a part of this meeting as always. For those of you who don't know, I am Captain Sean Claxton, the Executive Officer of the 83rd Precinct, and I'm filling in tonight for our Commanding Officer, Abraham Sanabria. Just to report on a few of our current precinct conditions and how we're addressing them. I'll speak briefly on crime and also talk a little bit on traffic safety. So without further ado, I'll get straight into things. Although year to date, we are down in some categories of our top major 7 crimes, such as robberies, assaults, and burglaries within the past 28 days. We are actually up in just about all 6 out of our 7 statistical top major 7 crime categories. We're only down in felonious assaults, which, to be honest, we're not down too much. We're down 1, 22 this period versus 23 of last period. So it's kind of about the same as last year. But we are up in robberies and assaults this 28-day period. For robberies, we're up 24 versus 18. That's up 6, which is a percentage change of 33.3%. And with burglaries, we're up 27 versus 18, which is up 9, increase of 50%. So, I mean, we're working on efforts to just try to get some of the crime to go down. What we're doing in regards, well, we're just fortunate enough to get 15 new officers into our precinct, 15 new probationary police officers, and we're going to utilize them for added presence in the street, as well as, you know, them being they're still in training mode. But the more officers we have to put out, it alleviates some of our current officers from being overloaded with radio runs. So they're not, you know, they no longer would have to rush from job to job, and they can give the job that they're responding to more quality and a greater level of assistance and service to the community. We also adjusted the hours of our public safety team to coincide with the times that we're seeing many of most of these robberies happening. We've conducted special operation initiatives utilizing our neighborhood coordination officers to address GLA conditions. What we frequently see in GLAs, just if everyone could let the community know, we're seeing individuals leave their vehicles unattended with the engine running, and what happens is that, you know, you have defendants, perpetrators that would come inside the vehicle, they will go inside the vehicle and steal a vehicle, and then it's easy access, you know, and the victims, they think they're just running inside of a store or running into the school to drop their kids off real quick, and it's no biggie. But you know that's been the driving force of our grand larceny autos. So we want to get that down. We've also scheduled extra overtime tours for some of our officers to come in on the weekends, just as an added layer of patrol visibility and presence. And we're assigning them also to the targeted areas where we see an uptick in crime. So that's some of the things that, you know, I want to keep it brief because I know the meeting has been extended with the conversations earlier. I'll touch on traffic. In the past 28 days, we're down in accidents. We're down 109 collisions versus 117. That's a decrease in 8. We have seen the increase in the amount of hazardous summonses that we issued in the 28-day period as well. And year to date, we're up in the hazardous summonses that we've issued. But I mean, we're giving an added push to our officers regarding addressing traffic-related conditions, because right now our motto is traffic safety is public safety. So outside of issuing summonses through enforcement, we also, you know, we're pushing our officers to conduct more vehicle safety checkpoints at collision-prone locations. And we also have officers, not just patrol officers, but we're utilizing auxiliary officers, our NCOs, and our special highway safety officers to respond to top pedestrian collision locations, to talk to pedestrians and hand out flyers and just, you know, inform the public more on traffic safety and how we all could be safe. So, you know, that's all I really want to address now. If anyone has any questions, please feel free.
Board members, questions, comments? Mr. Ceballos?
Yes, just I want to ask, I remember some time ago, I see a lot of checkpoint in Bushwick. I want to know if in the future, in any time, we can have more checkpoint in the area.
Right. So right now with checkpoints, we're focusing on areas where we have high injuries, like Bushwick and Eastern Parkway. That's a major intersection where we get a lot of collisions. We recently had a collision on Flushing and Scott, where someone, you know, they were critically injured. So we push to have checkpoints in areas where was collision prone. However, we are definitely increasing checkpoints. That's as I mentioned, we're doing at minimum, I want to say about 9 per week, 9 to 10 per week minimum. So it goes upward from 10 checkpoints, but that is the name of the game at this point.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And just to add to that, Captain, it would be great if the 83rd Precinct would take a look. The board's Environmental Protection, Transportation, Sanitation, etc. committee recently did a study on Bushwick Avenue, a traffic safety study in partnership with Council Land Use. It'd be great if the precinct could take a look at that and add in any other recommendations or make any special notes that we should include in those recommendations. It'll be going to both our council members, our previous council members who made that possible, to our new council members who we hope will support it, and then of course to DOT, Department of Transportation, for them to implement it now that we've done most of the work. So we can send that tomorrow.
Yes, I'll take a look into that. I saw a question in the comment section regarding Myrtle Avenue and Broadway. So well, not it didn't say Broadway, it just said Myrtle Avenue. But Myrtle Avenue is one of our major throughways, and we're applying constant enforcement, especially around Myrtle and Broadway. But you know, we even conducted an initiative today with our NCO David, I believe, where we issued some summonses. But between Myrtle and that Broadway corridor, you know, we're enforcing heavily in that area. So just be aware, we continue to make efforts. I know the chair, Mr. Camacho, he informs us when he sees certain illegal violations occurring on Broadway. And we make that a priority. We do make that a priority because Myrtle is a throughway where if one car is stopped, then it will kill traffic for a whole lot of people. So we are enforcing.
Any final questions, comments?
Good
Members of the-
evening, Captain Claxton.
Good evening, sir.
I want to see if we can address, yesterday I sat in on the meeting with the 83rd with Captain Sanabria, and it was brought up, something that I've been thinking about also. I'm also a lieutenant in the fire department, and firehouses right there on Hart Street in
Thank you for
Bushwick.
your service.
And we've been really concerned in the past few months, in the last year or so. We've seen a significant amount of people parked on hydrants. For us, it's a danger, not just for the firefighters, but obviously for the city, the people that live in these buildings. Every second counts when it comes to putting out a fire. We depend on that water to do that. And people don't understand. I know that it's been hard to find parking lately, but I know back in the day, everybody respected hydrants, not anymore. I'm not sure, and I know why, because no one's getting ticketed. So, if they're not getting ticketed, you really, it was brought up yesterday, and I was just sat back and listened, but, people say, oh, it's a safety concern, but people don't really realize how much of a danger that really is. I know that it's most of the time, thankfully, we don't use it, but when it comes down to the nitty gritty and we need to use that hydrant and it's blocked, it makes a huge difference. 1 second or 1 minute, especially when it's a family member. So I know that you say you just got some rookies that are on the job. Maybe, have them practice on writing tickets on hydrants then. Or however we can address that.
I appreciate your concern in regards to the hydrants. I would encourage you, we write what we see, right? And you're right, the traffic, the parking situation in Brooklyn is horrible. And sometimes we try to show some discretion because, it could be 4 o'clock. There's no right way, there's no right reason to park at a hydrant, right? It could be 4 o'clock in the morning and someone's just been working 12, 15 hours and they just can't find anything, and they not necessarily block the hydrant, but they'll park a little too close. I would encourage you, if you see a vehicle parked at a hydrant, and you can also pass this along to anyone else in the community, call 301. Call 301, we'll get it and we'll answer it. And listen, if there's a call, we're going to go investigate. And if it's there, we have to write. We don't show discretion at that point. You understand? If someone in the community is bothered by it, then we address it. But fire hydrants in general, that's something, if it's blocking the hydrant, clearly, then we do address those. We try to show a little leniency if the cause is off. I know the rule is 15 feet. We show a little lenience if it's 8, because of the parking situation in Brooklyn. But like I said, there's no right reason to park at a hydrant, and that's something that we will continue to address.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Nurse, then Barbara Jackson, and then Linda Kelly, then we have to wrap up. So go ahead, Councilmember.
Yeah, mine is very quick. I was just wondering if there was any communication or coordination yet or information coming down the pipeline around the anti-gun units that were coming to the precincts. I thought the 83rd was listed in it. We hadn't received any information about the rollout of that.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a neighborhood safety team that's coming down the pipeline. We're set to have one. Right now we have 2 public safety teams, but this is going to be, like as you said, the new unit, which would do away with our public safety team. We're entitled to one, and there has been talks between us and the borough with personnel, which personnel we're going to use, what supervisor we're going to use. But we're waiting on the final word from them. That comes from the bureau, which ultimately comes from the mayor. So when they give us the green light, that's when we'll implement it. But then also with this special unit comes special training as well. So I don't have a finite timeline to give when it's going to happen and when we're going to see that team out in the street policing.
However, it's going to take some time. That's all I have for you at this junction.
Okay,
It's
Barbara?
definitely coming to the 83rd precinct, though.
Okay,
Barbara?
thank you. Barbara?
Okay, as far as calling 311 for cars parked by the hydrant, yes, you can call 311, but eventually goes to the 83rd, goes to the precinct. So if it's not an emergency, they're not coming out quick, fast and ticket the car. So would it be at the fire hydrant until whoever owns the car moves it?
So, I mean, essentially, you're correct in terms of how we prioritize our jobs and where do we go to first. I mean, ultimately, though, you know, the point is, the purpose is, we do want the car to be moved. So if the car is moved prior to us coming, yes, we weren't able to issue its summons, but the outcome that we want for the hydrant not to be blocked is you know, that's the outcome is there. So unfortunately, we can't rush to a fire hydrant job if, like I said, we have an uptick in robberies. If we get a robbery call, you know, that's a more pressing concern than a fire hydrant. But we will do our best to get to it as soon as we can.
And Captain, is this something that traffic can assist with?
Absolutely. So we have traffic enforcement agents. You know what? I'll make a note to reach out to the traffic bureau. But this hydrants everywhere, right? It's not a particular corridor that I can say, you know, I need you guys to be in this area addressing fire hydrants, you know. But I can call the bureau and speak to one of the executives there and just see if they can address that concern. Parking. Most fire hydrants I see, people are blocking fire hydrants either during alternate side to street pool parking regulations or at nighttime, late at nighttime. It's I don't see that uptick during the daytime. And then there's limited personnel and traffic safety at nighttime. So, you know, we have to take that into account as well. But like I said, I'll look into see what I can do, what more we can do on a precinct level to address this.
Okay, and we'll try to get you some specific locations. I'm sure our board members and members of the community, if you please let us know, if you know of any blocks that have this issue with the hydrants, please contact the board's office. And I know Ms. Kelly has been waiting patiently. Just give me 1 second. You should be able to unmute.
You got Ms. Bennett too.
Yeah, I'm trying to get everyone. Go ahead, Ms. Kelly.
A popular guy tonight.
Yeah, a lot of questions. Linda, are you there? If not, we're gonna have to move on.
Okay, wait, can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes, we could hear you now.
Okay, there was a shooting on DeKalb and Irving. Somebody got shot. I believe it was Saturday or something. A week ago or something.
Yes, we did have a shooting recently on DeKalb. A male was shot in his thigh. If this the background, it was off of a dispute. Long story short, he had a dispute. He was walking his dog and he had a dispute with another individual, and then he went back home and he was hanging outside of his building, and that individual came back and fired shots at the victim. Unfortunately, we are investigating. We do have some good leads. We have some very good leads.
Okay.
If anyone else has any information that could help us help us bring this perp to justice, feel free to give us a call. Call 911 the NYPD tip line. That helps, or you can call the precinct.
Just don't let the people out. I don't understand why they're letting these people out. You know, you get arrested and then they let you out. They let you go out without even bail or nothing. They let you out. You commit another crime. They let you out again. I mean, come on, somebody gotta do something about that.
So that's beyond my pay
I know,
grade, you know.
That,
I don't make the
that's like,
laws, we just enforce them.
I
you know.
know, but,
Got it.
okay,
Thank
all right,
you.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. And Joanna, did you still have a question or should we move on? All right. Going once, going twice.
Yeah, I was just wondering, since we have Councilwoman Nurse on the line, and we have two major agencies, the FDNY and the NYPD, and we're talking about parking at fire hydrants. I'm just wondering, is there a possibility of enabling our fire department to issue tickets when they see cars parked at fire hydrants? It impedes their job. It's an endangerment to the community. And when they see, can you call the fire department and say, okay, they're going to go out and write a ticket on that hydrant? So I just wonder, is it possible, a possible solution to the problem?
So that's a conversation
That's it.
to have offline, just because we have limited time, but we can
Yeah,
absolutely follow
the
up.
parties just happen to be here. Yes, that's another conversation for another time. But those people happen to be here, and I thought that's a possible solution, maybe to consider.
It's great. Yeah, great to put it on their radar. So we can absolutely follow up on that. Thank you, Ms. Bennett. So if there are no other questions here, thank you, Captain, for joining us. We're going to go ahead and move on. We still have half of an agenda. And now that concludes the entirety of the chairperson's report. And next we have the district manager's report, which is my report. And I know I've given everyone a break the past 2 months, but I actually do have to summarize a few things that have happened under my report. I will try to be as brief as possible. So good evening, everyone. Happy belated MLK and Valentine's Days. And then I'll go ahead and summarize the meetings that I've attended. I'm just gonna give a little bit of information about the meetings themselves. The end of January, I had a call with Laura Bell from Salesforce. Some may be familiar. This was regarding a community board customer relation management tool. It's a project. The city council has something called CouncilStat. The community boards and apparently Borough Hall do not have any type of software or platform. I'm sure some boards have managed to come up with their own system. I know many have used Excel sheets. Some of us have even used Airtable. But prior to the pandemic, I spent some time talking to Salesforce to see if they would be able to build out something more formal. And they were checking in now that we're in a different period post-pandemic or moving away from the beginning of it. They wanted to know if that was still something of interest. And I suggested they contact Borough Hall. And I also let my colleagues in Brooklyn know about it. We also spoke with the Mayor's Office of Contract Services, also known as MOX, regarding a platform called Passport. We have to learn Passport in the board's office, specifically to be able to purchase a water cooler. I bring this up because this is another example of how with limited staff, we have to adapt and be able to get the things that we need. And this is something where all staff have to learn how to use this system. It does take time. It is online and it's not without its challenges. I know colleagues across the borough have experienced issues with Passport. And before our liaison from the Department of Information Technology and Telecommunications left the agency, I was able to determine that there are some just internal framework issues that make it challenging as well. And I'll leave that there. The short version of this is that it's very complicated for something that we need to do something so simple with. That's an example of how we always face challenges in the board's office. For something very straightforward, they make it very complicated for us to do it. And then a few more examples of folks that we speak to or that I specifically speak to throughout the month. I spoke with an urban planner named Tess Gutierrez regarding community engagement in the city. She wanted to know a little bit about how we interface with folks, and she's working on her own private research project. I also checked in with Bishop Perryman. Folks may know Bishop Perryman. The church is over on Cooper Street and Wilson. And we were talking a little bit about food pantry supply options. They will continue to have the farmers market this year with Riseboro. They're very excited. And they've also taken measures to deal with the very serious rat or rodent infestation problem that was stemming from a nearby property. On Monday, January 24th, I was very happy to attend Dr. Julie Dent's Retirement Celebration Planning Committee meeting. Folks that know Dr. Dent know that her retirement celebration was postponed due to the pandemic. I'm happy to announce that we have a new date. I don't remember the specific date, but it's the end of April. As soon as we get that information, we'll absolutely share that with the board and with the community. And then Mr. Camacho already spoke on this. And oh, the district office committee meeting. There were a few items that were not touched on, so I have to mention them because there is one recommendation from the committee this evening. For board member attendance, Mr. Camacho mentioned it. It's important. Thank you to everyone for being here and letting us know. There were some letters sent in October for 3 or more unexcused absences. Those board members were Louisa Chan, Cheryl Jones, Marcus Alston, Oldhoff Wright, Andrew Choi, Luisa Jose Olea. For the most part, everyone's attendance improved. In regards to Mr. Wright, the committee did have a discussion, and as opposed to taking any action as per the board's bylaws, the committee made a recommendation for me to reach out to Borough Hall to explain Mr. Wright's situation. And I did. I sent them an email, describing the health challenges he's had in the past year. I also mentioned that if because he is their appointee and he's not up for renewal until next year, if they can check in with him to determine, for themselves his plans, because he's only verbally indicated to us that he doesn't plan to return to the board at this time, then that would be the better way. We want to honor and remember him, for his service to this board for many years, and the committee felt that that would be appropriate. So we're waiting for a response from Borough Hall, but we know that they're going to, do the right thing and make sure that Mr. Wright's service isn't tarnished because he's been trying to recuperate. And the letters, there were more letters sent in January for attendance, including Carlos Feliciano, Igaudi Gomez, Christopher Graham, Leo Teneo, Zuma Novoa, Asire Polite, and Bernardino Shell. We've heard back from some board members. We haven't heard back from all of them. We know it's very challenging at times to attend the meetings, and so we want to be able to work with you. Please just let us know when you need to be excused, and also let us know if there are things that come up. You have to prioritize you, your family. The board will always be here, so even if you have to take a break, just let us know and we'll find a way to make it work. And there was one recommendation that I will get to later under recommendations for removal. And let's see, I think there was one more item, if I'm not mistaken, from this report. Perhaps not. So that concludes the district office report. Back to my report. Just give me 1 second. On Thursday, February 3rd, there was a sanitation working group meeting. It's a really exciting time. We have folks that are getting more involved, and those that participated, I think it was our best meeting yet. We were joined by both Diana Reyna as a consultant who's working with the group to come up with a report, and also with the board's sanitation committee. She was joined by James O'Brien from CoCensus, who was potentially going to be helping with a survey. We decided that it doesn't make sense to pursue the survey at this time, given our timeline and capacity. However, we're happy to have made that connection. And then, of course, I know Mr. Camacho mentioned our pop-up event at Riseboro. Just want to give a shout out to the Department of Health, NYC Health and Hospitals, to Kim for going out from the board's office, to everyone who made that an event a success. Thank you so much. And then to specify a little bit more about what's happening in Green Central Knoll Park, Mr. Camacho spoke on it, but specifically there are folks that are using the field that the kids use when they play in the spring for their dogs. And it's led to several different altercations with the Parks Department. They've stepped up enforcement, but if folks are familiar with the park, there's like a fence that's the shape of an S that's open on both sides. So folks can literally go in and out of the field whenever they want. We have asked that they close off the field only for permitted use to avoid some of the issues and the burdens that we're seeing, both with folks, the interpersonal issues, but also with the holes in the fields, of course, pet waste on the field, etc. And the council member did commit to funding that, Councilmember Gutierrez, and Parks is currently exploring their options. And I also had a call with Debbie Holloway from the Bushwick Free Store. Some of you may have noticed that there is a free store on the corner by Maria Hernandez. They're not technically allowed to operate there, but they've been doing it as a form of mutual aid for the community. They are looking into spaces where they can operate legally. Unfortunately, Parks nor the mayor's office was able to accommodate them with permits to be in that specific location because they do not meet the criteria to be eligible to get the permit. So if folks can help them out, I'm happy to connect you. And on Wednesday, February 9th, I spoke with Sarah Goldwyn from City Planning Coordination. These are the folks that help every year with the board's statement of community district needs. I touched base with her on one of the projects we worked on for the first time last year and hope to continue those conversations to make it better. And there's always more to say. However, I will conclude my report there. I know it's a lot of information. Thank you everyone for your patience, and I'll take any questions, comments now, if there are any. All right, and I see Noel dropped in the chat. Oh, sorry, what was that, Gladys?
Just want to tell you good luck with passport. It's very horrible program. They're trying to make it better, but since it's a brand new program, just I'm gonna tell you, whoever's gonna take the training, bring a notebook just for that and write everything that you hear. Just write it down because you're gonna that's gonna be useful for you when you're in that program. So you don't have to go back because they are very tied up with the messages. They're not answering the help desk, and it's step by step. But just bring a notebook, write everything that you need to write, and just put clear your notes. So because then you could go back and do this program because this program is very hard. Very hard for newcomers. But
Yeah,
eventually
absolutely.
you're gonna get easier.
Thank you, Gladys. And I think we got very lucky. The liaison who I worked with to set up our passport account was very helpful. We get questions for reviews all the time. I don't always write reviews unless someone really compels me to write one. She was so helpful. I wrote a review and I said that she should, be acknowledged for actually being helpful because it's very rare in city government for someone to actually answer and also be helpful. We have some great liaisons, so we always want to acknowledge when they do a great job because we want to see that more and more. And then just a quick comment from the chat. Noel from the Bushwick Star mentioned that they're going to be hosting the free store on Thursdays. So it seems like they have one home. If we can get them a different home as well for other days, I think that would be great. I even mentioned that they may want to connect with Latinos Unidos. It really just depends on where they are and of course the folks that they speak to. Did someone else have something? All right. Hearing no other questions, seeing no other comments, we will move on now to our committee reports. We only have 2 this evening and we'll start with housing and land use. And I know one of your items was already presented, so we don't have to really speak on that in detail, but we have the whole other meeting to summarize.
Thank you so much, Celeste. Yes, so we had a pretty busy month. We had a meeting on January 25th where the public hearing item today was presented. So Nashit Rumi and Lee Boyce from DFTA, the Department for the Aging, as well as John Cosa, Christian Grove from DCAS, Administrative Services, and then also somebody from DCP presented about renewing this lease for the senior center. And, as everybody, I think most people hopefully were there for the public hearing, but we did ask them to come before. But really, we just had questions about the length, 20 years, and also some promised upgrades to the space. And would they be able to continue to accommodate all of the seniors during the upgrades? And they committed, yes, they would be able to. It seems like there had been a lease renewal 5 years ago where the owners had come before us. So we had some questions about why that was such a short lease renewal. And it turns out that I think that the city was, as we understood it, the city was using that as leverage to get some upgrades to happen because those upgrades had not happened. So basically, after talking with the owners, talking with the city, and then there were some Riseboro representatives there as well, I believe. I don't have the name right now, but we were comfortable supporting this lease renewal because we know how important this community center is to the seniors and many families in this community. That was on the 2 days later, I met with Camacho and Celeste, and we met with Blue Sea Development, which is the development or part of the development team behind the Seniors First project on Linden and between Linden and Grove on Wilson. This is a project that came before the Housing and Land Use Committee and the full board. I would say, what was it, 2018? Is that correct, Mr. Camacho? It's basically, the city, NYCHA, was trying to find more spots for senior housing. This is on that parking lot. I think many of you will be familiar. It's honestly, it's like half a block away from where we all meet, or we used to meet in the pre-pandemic times. It is a 13-story building. It is, I believe it is wait, let me find my notes, 152 units of senior housing, all of which is, I'll find the numbers breakdown, but it's everything is below 50% AMI. A fair amount of it is Section 8. And I believe it is 20% set aside for the formerly homeless. So the numbers do seem to pencil out. Anyway, all of which is to say they wanted, they have a 2,000 square foot community space on the ground floor that HPD, Housing Preservation and Development, is asking them to find a paying tenant for. They said that based on their community outreach to people in Bushwick, they want to have it be a flexible, free space for community groups. We had a lot of questions about that and what that meant. There's a lot of technical background on it, but it is basically they would like it to be administered by JASA, which is the organization that is going to be providing the supportive services on site for the seniors anyway, for these 150 plus units. And we asked them for a lot of clarification on that. They did follow up a day or two later and shared that, but they said we are on a really tight schedule. We need a letter from the community board. And we said, the three of us, are not in a position to give you that letter. We need to bring it before the Housing and Land Use Committee, and then before the full board, which we are doing now. So we then followed up with a special meeting on the February 10th, where basically this same team came and presented to the Housing and Land Use Committee. And I appreciate everybody on HLU who's willing to and able to come to this special meeting. And I'm sorry, just one more thing. On the February 25th meeting, there was some other stuff that came up. The 1328 Gates, Communities Resist, is the community lawyers organization that supports a lot of people in our community, and council member Nurse and a bunch of other people worked on cleaning out the basement at 1328 Gates, and Communities Resist had filed a lawsuit against Riseborough, who is the management. So I followed up the next day, because as that was happening, I just learned about it. It was the same day as our meeting. I followed up with Kevin Worthington the next day to get a better sense of what was going on. Perhaps council member Nurse, if that's something, if you could give us a super short update on that. But then what I would like to, let me just wrap this up, and perhaps if it's okay, after I finish this report, you can give us that update. So on February 10th, we basically, Housing and Land Use had this special meeting for the Seniors First project. They presented everything. Basically, what they are asking us is for a letter in support of having a zero cost community space administered by JASA that is available for nonprofit making efforts or organizations. So for example, we asked, it could be a community organization, it could be the community board, it could be a softball league, it could be a mutual aid organization, it could potentially be a free store, it could be, there's as long as you're not trying to make money or have a birthday party for yourself, you would potentially be able to have
an event in this space. It's 2,000 square feet. If HPD does not go for it, they will move the supers unit down there, and then they will create two additional units of senior housing above. So we went back and forth quite a bit. We asked them a lot of questions, and then ultimately the Housing and Land Use Committee voted to support them to go forward with a letter in support. It sounds like HPD has not done this before, so it may not happen, but based on a lot of things that we hear at the community board, we felt like this is something that a flexible space in the community that could be sort of quote unquote rented for free by a range of different community organizations seemed like a good idea. That is my full report. Councilmember Nurse, if you would be able to give us a brief update on 1328 Gates, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll try to be super short. We did an action over there with Communities Resist. There was a long-standing issue with Riseboro. The property right now, it went through a 7A process, is being held by Neighborhoods Restore, and it will eventually be moved into Riseboro's portfolio. They are supposed to be maintaining the building. The tenants were complaining that there's been no cleaning, no maintenance, a lot of just a couple years of issues with lack of response. So we did the action to ultimately request that Riseboro come to the table with their renovation plans. You know, the building is over 100 years old. It's falling apart structurally. It needs a total renovation, gut renovation. It's wood beams and the floors are bending. It's just it's over 100 years old building. The tenants have been concerned that there has not been clear communication about when they're gonna be relocated, what is the actual renovation plan, what is the layout of the building for when they return. None of that had been communicated to them over a very long period of time, which was creating a lot of anxiety and stress. So we ultimately had a meeting immediately about a week out with the tenants of Riseboro, a bunch of people from Riseboro Neighborhood Restore or Neighbors Restore. Assemblywoman Davila was there. We came up with an action plan. We're going to be meeting next month. We're going to, moving forward, have a monthly meeting and a check-in. Communities Resist is going to be working to set up a time for the architect to sit with the family to go over the layout that they need to accommodate all of the people living in that building. And then the second meeting they'll have is about, in next month, is about the rent structure. So when they come back, you know, Riseboro has committed to that rent stabilization being in there with the structural gut project. The way that kicks in the Department of Building new codes and some of the restructuring of the rent, that needs to really be communicated clearly to the tenants so that they know what they're fully signing on to. So we now have a system of communication moving forward for a monthly meeting. The architects and neighborhood restorers they're going to be working with the tenants to make sure that there are acceptable renovation layouts for those families so that no one is displaced. Is the very short of it.
Thank you. I know it was a super complex situation, so I appreciate you sharing that information. And if it makes sense, CB4 HLU can be a part of those conversations.
Absolutely.
If you don't need us to, but I think it's
no, important. I think the more eyes, the merrier. So this is not the only building that is coming up around this. So we will definitely include you in the meeting. I can loop you into the thread that's happening.
I also want to thank you because I saw you getting dirty and cleaning up the building. I saw you was doing
it was horrific down there.
No, I want to thank you.
People don't deserve those conditions. Nobody deserves to live like that.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Councilmember Nurse. And so we will be the HLU committee's recommendation to support both the 20-year lease for the senior center, and then also to support this letter to HPD about a zero cost flexible community space. Those will be in the recommendation center at the section of the meeting at the end of this meeting. And thank you, everybody. But if there are any questions, I don't want to buzz on before everyone has a chance to ask questions.
Going once, going twice. Questions for Anne? All right. Here, I gotta do it, both from the board and from the public. Specifically for our audit, we're in compliance. All right. Okay, hearing none, seeing none in the chat or the Q&A, we'll move on. Thank you, Anne. All right, and next we have our Economic Development and Permits and Licenses Committee meeting. Kim, are you able to summarize?
Okay, it's my first time doing it, so just bear with me. So for the committee meeting on Tuesday, the committee received 4 applications that were invited. The first 2 are new applications, which is Bar 29 Holding LLC, that's located on 29 Locust Street. These owners have lived in Bushwick for 17 years. They're basically opening a bar with a limited food menu and opportunity for live music and DJing. The owners did reach out to tenants and the neighbors around the business, and they received 11 letters of support and as well as 20 signatures in a petition. PLC chairperson did recommend that the establishment reach out to local nonprofits, the 83rd precinct as well. Their intended sales of alcohol hours were 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 4 a.m., Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 a.m., and Sunday from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. The owners have they're in the process of implementing a soundproofing recommendations. And the PLC chairperson, as well as Mr. Camacho, did express some concerns about the hours of operation. And they made a suggestion that the establishment close at 2 a.m. Monday through Wednesday, which they did agree to. As well as the chairperson encouraged the owners to hire locally and provide us with any job postings that they have in the future. For the second new application, that was Casa del Sabor, that's located on 446 Wilson Avenue. And this establishment has been functioning already as a Spanish restaurant, and the owners are applying for a full liquor license to increase revenue. They have conducted outreach with the public school that is across the street, and they received a letter of support from the assistant principal. And the PLC chairperson suggested that further outreach be conducted. Their intended sales of alcohol hours were 7 days a week, Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 12 a.m., Friday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 2 a.m., and Sundays, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. And the third establishment was Wyckoff Beer Garden, LLC, 33 Wyckoff Avenue, and they were invited to the meeting to provide just basically updates on what improvements were made since there was residential complaints in the past. The owner did explain that the communication with the community and businesses has improved. Their sound system is also being updated, and they are in the process of determining whether they're going to be closing the establishment earlier. Their intended sales of alcohol remain the same, which is 7 days a week, Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., Friday through Sunday from 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. And the PLC chairperson also suggested that they reach out to Arts, Cultural Technology Committee chairperson, and they are in compliance with the stipulations. The last establishment, which is Wilson Avenue LLC Gold Sounds, located on 44 Wilson Avenue. They're a renewal applicant, and they were invited because they received a few complaints, 39 complaints, 39 311 complaints in 2021. We reached out to the 83rd precinct about it. And the complaints mainly were regarding noise emanating from the outside. So we did speak with the owner, and he did say that he retrained their staff, the security, to enforce the noise limit. and he's currently doing soundproofing to the system, to their sound system. They invested more in the outdoor space to minimize the noise, and he has been in communication with the neighbors. Their sales of alcohol hours were 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday from 4 p.m. to 3 a.m. And the committee chairperson requested that the establishment close their outdoor area by 11 o'clock, which they did agree to. And as well as they made the suggestion of, well, enforcing the stipulation of no alcohol past 12 a.m. on Sundays, which they did agree to as well. And the committee did make recommendations for that meeting. So the recommendations were to approve for Bar Holdings LLC, as well as Casa del Sabor, and also voted to approve the renewal establishments, which were Wyckoff Beer Garden and 44 Wilson Avenue, Gold Stones. And that's basically wrapped up.
Very nice, Kimberly.
Yes.
Great job.
Great job.
All right.
Thank you.
Just a question for clarification, Kim, on 44 Wilson Avenue, what are the hours that the committee recommended?
I'm just pulling that up, sorry.
Sure.
For 44 Wilson Avenue, the hours will be Monday through, so Monday through Thursday would be from 4 p.m. to 3 a.m. And then Saturdays and Sundays, their hours were, give me 1 second. Yes, so sorry, that was Monday through Saturday from 4 p.m. to 3 a.m. and Sundays there the stipulation is no alcohol past 12 a.m.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for the committee? Going once, going twice. All right. Moving us right along, I believe that, well, we already covered our district office report earlier, so I took time out of my report to already cover it. So we'll go ahead now right into recommendations.
Celeste, somebody said something in the chat. What was the second establishment's name again?
What? Hold on. Yeah, the chat moves so quickly, sometimes we don't see things. That's why Q&A.
The second establishment was the new application, and that was Casa del Sabor.
Yep. They answered in the chat. I believe one of the owners.
That's
So,
on
yeah, thank you.
446 Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah, and just a quick shout out. We do have some of the owners joining us this evening. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for what you do in the community, and for responding to some of the concerns that we had. All right. Okay, so we'll move on now to recommendations, and we'll start with the district office committee. As I mentioned earlier, there was one board member that, as per the board's bylaws, was recommended for removal from the board. Everyone knows that we take this very seriously. This isn't something that is done lightly by the board. This board member in particular, his name is Marcus Alston. He's new as of last June. I spoke with him earlier in the meeting year, most likely in October, and I let him know that he was flagged for not coming to any of the meetings since he was put on the board. He let me know that he was in school in Pennsylvania, so I don't know if that means that he's living out of state or what exactly that means, but he gave us a different email address and he said that he would be present. He has not attended any meetings since. So not a single committee, not a single full board meeting. And of course, you know, we have yet to hear anything from him despite our correspondence. So at this time, the district office committee's recommendation is to remove Mr. Alston from the board due to his unexplained absences that have accrued over time. Is there a motion for this recommendation?
Jose Guzman make a motion.
James Fitzgerald second.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Jose. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Thank you, everyone. And we'll move on now to housing and land use, starting with the ULURP recommendation for a Roundtable Senior Center. Do you want to just summarize the recommendation, Anne?
Yes, the recommendation is the Housing and Land Use Committee voted to send a letter in support of a 20-year lease renewal for the senior center. And I'm sorry, I've forgotten it. I've got to pull up my notes, the address, maybe. Camacho, do you have it or so?
1175.
1175 Gates.
Exactly. So 1175 Gates, a 20-year lease renewal for that site. And we recommended, yes, we send a letter in support. The second recommendation.
Just the first.
We're gonna do one.
One
Just
is
one at a time. Yeah.
Yeah, one at a time.
So, yeah. So, yes, Barbara?
Even though I attend the center, could I make a recommendation? No, I can't? Okay.
Yeah, I feel like because you're so involved, that would be a conflict of interest. I mean, but everybody loves the center. So, but I would just say to be careful.
Yeah, and we love you, Barbara. So I'm gonna request, all right?
Yeah. but everybody knows how much you care about Roundtable. So, all right. Is there a motion on this recommendation?
I make a recommendation that we approve the speculations in regards to the 30-year lease.
20-year lease.
20 years. Gladys Puglia, second.
I give it 10 more. Who cares? 20.
Second by Gladys Puglia. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
and now
now-
the second recommendation.
So,
I'm sorry. Was there someone opposed?
No.
Okay. I didn't miss anyone. Okay, I thought I heard someone say something. I just want to make sure. So all were in favor. It was unanimous support. All right. And the second recommendation is for the NYCHA Seniors First Community Space for the Linden Grove project. What was the committee's recommendation, Ann?
Committee recommendation was to send a letter in support of not having a leased tenant for this and having it be administered by JASA and open to a range of formal and informal community groups ranging from mutual aid to softball leagues, to the community board, to not-for-profits, to be able to use that base, use that space on a daily, weekly basis.
So listen, we'll add the other details in regards to.
She put them all. I write the letters. I write all the letters. So is there a motion for this recommendation?
I make a motion, I make a motion that we grant them the letter.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Raul Rubio, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Thank you, everyone. And now we're moving on to economic development permits and licenses. May I suggest that we go business by business, if that's okay with the board? Is that, yeah, I'm seeing some heads. Perfect. So do you want to start with the recommendations? Just summarize them for the first one, 29 Locust Street, I believe.
Okay, so for 29 Locust, the motion to vote was, they gave their recommendation, their approval for the new liquor, wine, beer, and cider present today with the hours stated above and with the stipulations in place, and they are actually on the call tonight as well, so.
Okay, and just specify the hours.
Hours, okay, give me 1 second. The hours were 7 days a week, Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 a.m. Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 a.m. and Sunday from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. However, I believe on Monday through Wednesday, the committee recommended that the establishment close at 2 a.m. and they did agree to that. So it's actually Monday through Wednesday until 2 a.m. Sorry about that.
And no problem. Just so folks know, the standard recommendation for any establishment Monday to Wednesday is always till 2 a.m. to give folks a break. And then Thursday to Saturday, it's usually till 4 a.m. And then Sunday is 12 a.m. That's standard. Everyone. It's not a personal thing. Everyone gets that recommendation. And then, of course, there's no amplified music outside. And then anything happening outside has to wrap up at 11 p.m.
Yep.
I believe there were some other recommendations for this specific establishment, outreach to nonprofits, soundproofing, hiring locally, and job postings.
Yep.
Is there a motion for this establishment's recommendation?
Choi motions.
Thank you. Is Second?
Gladys, second.
Thank you, Gladys. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Alvina Davis abstain.
Thank you. So moved. Thank you, everyone. And moving on to 446 Wilson.
Yes, so for this establishment, like I said, they're a Spanish restaurant. They're applying for full liquor license. Their intended sales hours of alcohol are 7 days a week, Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. Friday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. and Sundays, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. The PLC chairperson encouraged owners to hire locally and provide any job postings that they may have, as well as reminded the owners of the stipulations, no alcohol past 12 a.m. on Sundays.
And they're in compliance since they close at 10 on Sundays. Is there a motion for this recommendation for this establishment? Anyone? Anne, I saw Anne's hand. Is there a second?
I second.
Just say your name. Leo, thank you.
Leo Tenio, I second.
Got you. No problem. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Alvina Davis abstain.
Okay. So moved. Thank you, everyone. And to the third establishment, 33 Wyckoff.
33 Wyckoff Avenue, Wyckoff Beer Garden. And this establishment was basically invited just to provide updates on the improvements they've made. Their sales of alcohol hours are 7 days a week, Monday through Thursday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., Friday through Sunday from 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. The PLC chairperson recommended that they get in contact with the Arts, Cultural, and Technology Committee chairperson just for potential collaboration opportunities. And the establishment is in compliance with no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays.
Okay. Recommendation for this, or a motion for this recommendation?
Annette motions.
I second it.
Gladys.
Second
Okay,
it.
Gladys. Yeah, you just gotta say your name. So Gladys seconds, because I can't, I'm looking down when I write. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Alvina Davis abstain.
Okay. So moved. Thank you, everyone. And last, we have 44 Wilson Avenue.
Yes, so that is Gold Sounds Wilson Avenue LLC. This establishment has been in business 5+ years. They were invited due to the 39311 complaints. And just to clarify, they've been doing soundproofing, retraining the staff, and in communication with their neighbors. Their sales of alcohol hours are 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday from 4 p.m. to 3 a.m. And they did agree to close their outdoor patio area by 11 p.m. and remind the PLC chairperson reminded of the stipulations, no alcohol past 12 a.m. on Sundays, which they agreed to do so. And that would be all.
So if I may make a suggestion, and I was not there, so please committee members correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure why this particular establishment has 7 days a week until 3 a.m. Except for Sundays. But I believe it would be only appropriate to standardize the usual recommendation, which is Monday to Wednesday to 2 a.m.
I agree.
Again, that's for.
I agree.
Okay.
I make that recommendation. Yes, I agree. with
I
you.
agree with your
So we're-
recommendation, yes.
Okay, so I'll say Mr. Camacho made that motion and Ms. Brown seconded it. And
Yes.
so we'll just make the
yes.
amendment. So it was a motion to amend the recommendation,
Right.
okay? All
Yes.
right.
Right. Yes.
And so
yes.
just to clarify for everyone, so now the hours of operation for selling liquor, so they could stay open, but just for selling alcohol would be Monday to Wednesday till 2 a.m. and then Thursday to Saturday till 3 a.m. and then Sunday is 12 a.m. And then
Yes.
all the other recommendations stand. Is there a motion now for this committee, for this establishment?
Oh, I, Robert Camacho, make a motion too.
Felix Ceballos, second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained?
Alvina Davis abstain.
Okay.
Raul
last one,
Rubio
Mr.
abstains.
Okay. All right. So moved. Thank you, everyone. And I believe that concludes all of our recommendations this evening. If there's anything else that I've missed, please let me know. Yes, Mr. Camacho?
My recommendations in regards to writing to HUD and other elected officials in regards to a Pinnacle and the abuse and the non-treating of our tenants and not maintaining supervision. Very, you yourself know for a fact that we have gotten calls yourself from tenants crying, and we have very disrespectful. So maybe we should write a letter to HUD, to all elected officials, and let them know how we feel. And I don't know if they are, maybe the councilwoman can see if they have it already, because I know they were on a temporary I don't know if they went through or they passed the thing. I know some of those buildings for a fact. Now you can call 311 on them, and the buildings department come. I know a lot of those apartments didn't pass inspection, so they're losing out on a lot of money too. I know that for a fact. So we really need to make sure that this development don't go down the drain and they push our people out of those. So we really need to write a letter to them. Maybe me and you together can do something. So I just want the board to let them know that, I'm really concerned about what's going on there, and we have to put an emphasis on that, especially our people in Section A in housing.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Is there a second for the letter to HUD?
Annette Spell seconds.
Okay, thank you, Annette. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? So moved. Thank you. And I believe that now concludes our recommendations. Going once, going twice. Great. Old business, going once, going twice. New business, going once, going twice. All right, announcements. Please be ready. Anyone that has an announcement, please raise your hand. It'll make this so much faster. If I don't see any hands, okay, Mr. Ceballos.
Yes, just I want to say something about the racks we have in the whole community. You see, to try to put attention in that, because it's a lot of rats in the sidewalk. They just go to the garbage and they do disaster. It's front of the building, front of the house, inside the house, inside the building, and just I try to bring attention.
Mr. Ceballos, I'm sorry for bothering you. This is, if you want, we have a sanitation work group. This is an announcement. If you have an announcement, we have a sanitation work group. We'll make sure we'll take care of your problem if you want. If it's in, but this is just for you. We're almost done. So there is a sanitation work group, and there are a sanitation committee. So if you get on there, maybe we can get more votes too, because this is now only an announcement.
Thank you, Camacho. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan?
Yes, hi there. Just wanted to share that DA is hosting a virtual Black History Month celebration event on Monday, February 28th. The link will be available on social media. I will also send an email out to everyone I can. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't see any more hands. Going once, going twice, announcements. We're just doing hands today because we're short on time. All right. Last chance. Okay. Second roll call. Board members, please be ready. And we'll start at the end with Frank Zimmerman. All right. Mr. Wright. Carlotta Williams.
Here.
Jerry Valentine.
Present.
Leo Teneo. Thank you, Jerry. Leo Teneo.
Present. Good night, everyone.
Annette Spellin.
Good night.
Dustin Somborn.
Present.
Barbara Smith. Bernadine Shell.
Good night.
Eliseo Ruiz,
Good night.
Raul Rubio,
Present, and have a good evening.
Gladys Bulia,
Good night.
Asira Polite,
Present.
Suman Navo is excused, Kyle Rourke,
Present.
Tammy Nimir Olivares, Desmond Monroe, Imani Mitchell, Mary McClellan,
Good night.
Mary McClellan, Luisa Jose,
Good night.
Virgie Jones is excused, Cheryl Jones,
Present. Good night, everyone.
Kristen Jock,
Present.
Barbara Jackson,
Here,
Tanisha Honeygan, Jared Hicks,
Present.
got you, Tanisha. Hadia Harrison, Jose Guzman,
Present and good night.
I'm sorry, this
is Hadia. I was trying to press unmute, but present. Good night.
no problem, I got you. Ann Guiney,
Present, good night.
Christopher Graham,
Present, good night.
Igati Gomez, Freddie Fowler, James Fitzgerald,
Good night.
Carlos Feliciano, Alvina Davis,
Present. Good night.
Daniela Davi, Andrew Choi, Luisa Chan,
Present.
Felix Ceballos,
Present. Good night, everyone.
Robert Camacho,
Presente, good night.
Raul
I
Brown,
gotta eat. Tengo hambre.
Present.
Martha Brown, Joshua Brown, Joanna Bennett,
Present, good night.
Reverend Yates is excused. Is there a motion from the board to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn at 9:01.
Okay, Ms. Davis made the motion, Barbara Jackson seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Good night, everyone. 9:01, great meeting.
Good night, 901.